How's it going, everybody?
Greetings.
This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and I'm not alone today because we're talking about comic books. To my left is Dom of X. What's up, buddy?
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. I am Dom, of course, the newly minted manager of the channel, and glad to be here as always, Omar.
Thank you, and thank you for putting this together. Where can people find us to follow it later on after watching this amazing stream we have planned?
You can find all of this at comicreleases.com, where all the documentation will be available for you on the onset.
Awesome. And we're not alone today, so I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves. Now, to my right is this gentleman. Dan, who are you, sir?
I am Dan. I'm yeah, that's it. No, I'm Dan. I have a comic YouTube channel called Comics with Dan. I do hit pretty heavy on the indie comics, so I'm very excited to be here and check things out. So thank you guys so much for having me.
Okay, thank you so much for being here, man. And let's see, underneath Dom and I is our buddy Taylor. Taylor, who are you, buddy?
I'm Taylor. Excuse me. I'm Taylor from Taylor Talks Comics. Sorry, I'll get that out there. I also do the social media for Near Mint Condition, so I'm the SMG social media guy. And I also have a YouTube channel where I just got a box, actually, indie related, a box of comics in from Living the Line. They sent me a box of comics to show off. So I'll be doing a whole video on that tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, it's the return of Taylor Talks Comics live at noon Eastern. So Taylor Talks Comics, subscribe so you don't miss out. And noon Eastern this Wednesday.
There we go. And back for more, because Joe enjoyed it the last time he was here. Joe, who's crazy, and I assume it's really late where you are, Joe, but it looks all lit up.
I was gonna say it's only 6 p.m. Here, so
you're fine. Never mind. I take back everything.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Yesterday, a couple of days ago, I recorded a podcast with someone in the same time zone because there are parents. They record after the kids have gone to bed. So even though we were in the same time zone, we recorded at like 10 p.m. So that was a fun late night edition of the podcast. But yes, I am Joe Loves Comics on Instagram and Twitter, and you can find my podcast Joe Talks Comics on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all the great places you can get podcasts. And it's fun because when we last did this stream a month ago, I was taking a bit of a break from the podcast, but now I'm back playing episodes again, so that's fun. And yes, as you said, I had a fun time last month, so yeah, thank you for having me back.
Well, absolutely. And again, thank you to Dom for heading all this and taking charge when it comes to this type of video, which is all the independent stuff. The Marvel solicitations for December? Is it December or January? Can't remember. Will be this Thursday. I just got the files in, and they've changed a couple covers already. But today we're focusing on Dark Horse, IDW, Boom, and Image Comics. Maybe sometimes Titan. Sometimes they get.
Sometimes when Titan has books, we will showcase them off, but they didn't have any solicitations this month, so we will not be covering Titan.
That is the question. Where is Bunk? Can somebody get him, please? I know he's probably like watching old WrestleMania 83 or WrestleMania 5 or whatever his favorite WrestleMania is.
He has work, Omar.
Oh, that's right. He also is working. I forgot, such a jerk.
There was no WrestleMania in '83, so just to.
Oh wow! Did you actually be without pushing your glasses up? Thank you. Now that feels better. Okay, no WrestleMania in '83. I stand corrected. Well, when was the first WrestleMania then?
I think it was '84. I want to say
WrestleMania 1 was '84. Interesting. So after Rocky 3, right? After Rocky
85. 3. I know it definitely wasn't '83, but it was '84, '85. It's close.
Gotcha. Well, if Bunk was here, he could tell us, but he is not. So instead, we're gonna kick it off with which company are we kicking it off with? Don?
We are going to kick it off with Boom Studios. Once again, you can find all of the documented forms of this on comicreleases.com, where we do have solicitation information, not just for the independent companies, but also the big two as well. And we are not covering them today, but if you are...
Why is that showing up?
Why are we getting... We're going to get copyrighted, Omar.
What was that? Was that a weather report that we just got? Oh no.
That was from Twisters. That's so weird. WrestleMania was March 31st, 1985. Thank you so much for that, Film Watcher and Logan Wayne. And oh no, Hamza is sick. I'm homesick, so I can finally watch one. Well, I'm glad we could keep you company. You want to make it a little bigger, Dom? Just a little bigger, please, for the people in the back. Okay, I think that's big. Oh, that's big. Okay. So what's going on from Boom?
All right, let's go ahead and go over the hardcovers, of which there is only one. This is Cyanide and Happiness, a guide to parenting by 3 guides with no kids. 20th anniversary hardcover by Chris Wilson, Rob Denblaker, and Dave McElfatrick. This is 1999.
Wow, I remember these comics. I thought they were just web-based. I never thought we'd get a hardcover.
I was going to say, I didn't know that they printed these. I've only ever seen them online.
Yeah, there's a softcover version later.
They're funny though.
In the solicits as well.
That's crazy. Okay, so let's move on to soft covers then.
Trade paperbacks. The first one we have is Blow Away, the Blow Away miniseries by Zach Thompson and Nicola Izzo, which collects the entirety of this 5-issue series.
Okay.
This is one I'm looking forward to a good bit. I read... It was like issue 2 and 3. I missed number 1, but it was really suspenseful. And Zach Thompson has a lot of stuff out right now. I think this one should be good.
I was going to say, I need to go back and check out some of the.
Have you read The Hunt for the Skinwalker? Cemetery Kids Don't Die? Because I've heard a lot of good things about Cemetery Kids Don't Die. And I
read the first issue.
I also,
and I enjoyed it. I didn't read the rest though, but yeah,
Okay.
I'm excited to read the trade when it comes out. Because I know he's also putting out Into the Unbeing with Hayden Sherman.
Mhm.
It's going to be on Absolute Wonder Woman, so that's cool.
I love that dude's artwork too. Hayden's an amazing artist for somebody so young.
Yeah.
Okay. Move on. Dom to
Next
Brier.
up, we got Brier Volume 2 trade paperback by Chris Cantwell and Alex Linz, the same creative team, which is going to do Plastic Man No More at DC. This is going to collect issues 5 through 8 of Brier at $14.99.
I love that Boom is crediting the colorist too. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a lot of companies doing that on solicitations. I thought that said Mark Silvestri at first, but it's Mars Silvestri, which is fine. I'm a huge fan of Christopher Cantwell. I don't think I have read anything by Christopher Cantwell that I have not enjoyed, whether it's his Marvel stuff or his independent stuff. Like The Blue Flame was one of my favorite reads last year. And this Swords and Sorcery, huh? Okay, cool. I'm in. Anybody read the first volume?
I haven't. But I was going to say, it looks like it has some grim fairy tales maybe in it too. It says the next chapter of the Sleeping Beauty who was never saved. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I read issue 5, but and maybe 6 because it was obviously the start of a new story arc, but it was actually a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be. It does looking at it like this, it doesn't look like it's going to be funny, but it's actually it's got some like good humor in it. So
yeah, Christopher Cantwell is one of those writers I haven't read much of, but I want to read some of their work because I hear good things.
He's definitely one that, like, I don't know. Remember when Marvel was doing those Young Guns? Like, oh, these are the creators to keep an eye on. He would probably be there. Hey Omar, off topic question: has Donald Duck 1 through 4 ever been released? Your video made me fall into Duck Comics hole.
Yeah.
1 through 3 hasn't yet. I think they just released 4 either last year or earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken.
3 and 4 have been released.
3. Okay, that was the one.
I think 3 just came out last week. The Mystery of the Swamp, I think it's called. And then
that one just came out. So very cool. Because they don't put them, they're like epic collections. They don't put them in chronology. And I don't blame them because when they started the project, it was like, we need to get the big books out there. once we get people hooked. And this is the exact reason why you don't find volume numbers on there. I saw a comment on my video that they need to add volume numbers on these when they're reprinted. Maybe. I like the idea of having them like Epic Collections. You can just it used to be a lot worse, by the way. They didn't even put the volume numbers in the books.
Like those earlier printings for sure.
I remember Melanie and we had to actually do a spreadsheet on what was collected and what goes where. And you had to look at the fine print as to what volume you were looking at. But I think they've gotten better at that.
Yeah,
but
volume,
that's
volume 2 has been solicited. So volume 2 solicited for, I think, spring. And there's talk now that might be over 30 volumes of material. But
yeah, I mean, if they're considering all the single strips and the little one pagers that he was doing towards the end.
Yeah,
I can see that.
It's great stuff though, and I don't think they need volume numbers on the spines either because they're all one and done type of stories anyways. Like you don't need to read them in order. So I think even more so than the Epic Collections, you don't need them, in order or whatever. It is nice to have them in order though. I have them in order on my shelf, but you can pick up any volume if you're curious and want to try it out.
I agree. All right, Dom.
Next up, we got the trade paperback of Cyanide and Happiness for $9.99 instead of $19.99 as it was shown earlier.
Why? I wonder why they didn't put it with the hardcover. Boom credited the colors on the cover of Once and Future hardcovers too. Just watch OmniDog's video on it where he picked up on that. Pretty cool. That is really cool. I wonder why they didn't just put this with the hardcover instead of having them select. Or is this something that you did, Dom? Separate them?
Oh no! This is what they give us every month. We don't tabulate or change the information. Just put it out on the page, and whatever the company gives us, we just do it.
Okay. Next, Jim, Omar, chat. I'm pre-ordering 2 omnibuses, omniboo, as David Gabriel calls it. Thor by Donny Cates and Hulk by Donny Cates. I'm so excited. You're a Donny Cates fan. I hope you enjoy that. The Hulk is ridiculous. It's ridiculous is the only way I can put it. Like, it's fun if you like your Hulk like a giant spaceship.
Those are both exciting because that gives us like pretty much all of the modern era of Hulk and Thor, like in omnibus editions.
Now that they've since they remapped Thor by JMS and adding Gil and stuff in there, they're not missing a beat there. It's wild. Amazing to have all that. Now we need like Hulk by Bruce Jones is one of the biggest gap fillers. But one day.
Hulk still has some holes, but Thor from like Heroes Return on is like all omnibused. I don't know if that's the verb, but
and man,
Philip
Kennedy is killing it on Hulk too. It's really good. Deep State, the complete collection, soft cover. Oh, I like Justin Jordan.
Oh yeah.
Celebrating 20 years of Boom Studios with this 20 for 20 collection. So it's $20. Doesn't tell you they should really add the page count on these things to get people super excited. Justin is the guy that did Luther Strode, which is freaking insane. And was it John Flood, I think? But I like his stuff. Has anybody read Deep State?
No, but I mean political science fiction thriller, spies, espionage, like Department of Truth dropped there. Like
got JFK in it, so
yeah. Sign me up. I want to read it.
Yes. After
back then, yes.
It was insane. I know that did they come out with the trade paperback of that yet? I know people were furious.
They did, yeah.
People were mad that it wasn't a hardcover.
And that's how Paperback Dan read it, actually, because Paperback Dan only ever buys paperbacks.
Well, good for that. Well, good for Dan. Not to be confused with the Dan that's in the chat with us right now.
He would have never read it if it wasn't in paperback.
Dan, are you neutral, Dan? Are you okay with paperbacks and hardcovers? Where do you stand?
I'll do it all. I'll do it all.
Do it all. I like that. Do it all.
About all of it.
This Hulk run has a great message. It's what's inside that counts when you're a massive angry speech. Oh man. Okay.
Trying to explain to somebody the plot of Donny Cates' Hulk is one of the hardest things.
Yeah, they usually look at you like you're high. You're like, what are you talking about, man?
It's probably the worst one to bring up whenever you're trying to convince people that comics are a sophisticated form of media. It's like,
Yeah.
wait, but the Hulk is an angry spaceship in this one.
I think Max
What?
Appleman just came up with the tagline for it. Is it too late to put that on the omnibus cover?
It's what's inside.
That would be
I
a
feel
perfect sell for the DM cover, Omar.
Like that's
Okay,
like the
hold
great
on.
tagline.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Is there any idea that's too insane for the Hulk? If I
Yeah.
said that I knew
That's it.
was Hulk going to culinary school and fighting Gordon Ramsay, it would sound plausible.
We
Hey,
gotta
he's-
make Gordon Ramsay the new emperor of the Shi'ar Empire just for that, and then make him into another giant.
If you're
fish
doing that
for him to
story,
fight.
you got to get like a mangaka to do it because that's like food manga, right?
Yeah, I was
There-
gonna say, reminds me of like
Yeah.
Lots of
Superman
good
manga.
manga. Guys, I've never read Watchmen. Will want to. Oh, what a great question to ask this panel. Is the art nice enough that it deserves to be seen in an OHC? Yes, absolutely.
Absolute edition.
Get
is
it
the
in
best way to
absolute
go.
even.
Or would the new DC comp? Dude, no, don't read it in compact. Oh, it's awful. God,
No, it's
some things need to be seen in, at the very least. It's not for everybody. I know. Like I would suggest picking it up in trade paperback and reading it, and if you fall in love with it, then you will definitely upgrade to like an absolute edition, which I think is my favorite version of that series, of the way those stories have been collected.
I agree. There's so
What
many.
about you guys? What do you think he should do?
There's so many
Well-
like Easter eggs and stuff in the artwork, and so detailed from Dave Gibbons that like you almost needed to have it an oversized format, I believe.
Yeah, and like honestly, at this point, they've printed so many copies of that book that you can get like a good hardcover of it for not that much more than the compact
Mhm.
edition. You know,
Mm.
like I get the compact. They made the compact edition because it's like the most famous DC comic book that there is. But like, you spend $8 more and get the hardcover.
I think this is the easiest way to put it. Okay, I'm gonna put it for you the easiest way, Logan. If you're watching this stream right now, you are a sophisticated fella and you like reading, so you go ahead and at the very least, pick up the trade paperback and then upgrade to the absolute because you'll want to. If you're somebody that has no idea what comic books are and you're just really drunk or hungover one day and you stumble upon it at like, I don't know, a 7-Eleven, whatever it is, and you pick it up and read it, yeah, the compact edition is just fine, right? It's not meant for people that actually love and read comics. It's meant for newbies or maybe even manga readers. Although manga readers will be completely shocked at all the dialogue and prose that's in Watchmen. They're gonna be like, "What is this?"
I think the idea of reading Watchmen for the first time drunk sounds like a lot of fun.
I think I've read it drunk. I've read that book so many times.
But
Okay,
imagine the first time you ever read it, you're drunk. Like,
Joe, okay, look at it. Let's do this really quick. Joe, what about you? Yes or no compact? First time reading
See,
Watchmen.
See, because when I first read it several years ago, I read the paperback version, and then for years I always said I would upgrade to at least like a deluxe edition. So the deluxe edition is currently eyeing something like that's a nice compromise between. It's not too expensive. Like if you don't want to go all out on the absolute, maybe someday I'll have to splash out for the absolute. But yeah, I think as you pointed out, for the compact edition especially, it can be quite smaller than 9 pelicrits and things. So I think the paperback isn't too much more. So I think that's a better option, at least. Yeah.
This is why DC compact comics are going to fail. What? They're not going to fail. They're going to sell
Doing
great.
their job.
But they're really not for people that already are reading comics. I mean, that's not if you look at the marketing with that wonderful commercial they did, they're really doubling down on this. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're a wonderful idea. I just don't think I've known Logan. He's been coming to the streams for a long time now. I don't think he would appreciate the story in compact size. Just because also there's a lot of dialogue in there.
the compact format is a gateway format. It's a gateway for new comic book readers.
Yes, perfect. Anything else anybody want to add about whether to get just Watchmen in compact?
Oh, I think my vote is it's the greatest comic of all time. You're gonna love it, so might as well invest in the absolute. But
The
That's just
greatest
fine.
comic of all time.
oh yeah, number one.
I don't think it's a hot take, Omar. A lot of people do have that.
I know.
I
I'm
have
kind of
that
shocked
opinion.
by your question. What do you think's the go? What's your go, Omar?
Well, we're not doing that right now. That's too.
All right.
We don't have enough time.
Next up,
My
we got
goat is
Garfield.
Garfield full course. That's my goat.
Disliked and unsubbed. Hey, somebody did this. Just like this video. Might have been him. No, but okay, whatever. Move on.
Next up, we got Garfield Full Course Volume 5 trade paperback. This is $16.99. Collecting everything originally collected in Garfield Volume 9, Garfield Homecoming 1 through 4, and Garfield 33 through 36.
Are these like collections of the original strips, or
No, this is a new comic book series.
This is comics.
And as someone from Indiana, I've got to advocate for Garfield, who's a home state hero. Jim Davis is from Indiana, but I do like that Roger Langridge is on here, who was previously interviewed by Omar.
Yep.
Hey.
I bought Watchmen in compact because I wasn't sure I would like it. 4 issues in, I bought the absolute to finish it and gift it to somebody. Look at used book sections at your local comic book store. Got my absolute for $30. I think the absolute was $75 when it originally came out. So if you run into it at like a half price books, and since it's been reprinted a few times since then, you could probably find it for that much.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say Batman Year 2, nor Identity Crisis. You all know there's a little kid here. I ain't gonna finish what I was thinking.
I've got headphones on, so go for it.
Let's continue.
But just to be clear, you would choose Batman Year 2 over Identity Crisis if you had to choose.
All day, every day. All day, every day, yes. And I'm sure they'll do a compact, DC compact of Identity Crisis and Batman.
Don't bite your tongue now, Omar.
You know it's coming. I mean, they're pumping them out, man.
Next up, we got Ranger Academy Volume 3 trade paperback. This is $12.99, and the final story arc of Ranger Academy, collecting the issues 9 through 12 of this series.
This is taking place, or it's not set in a different universe, right? Like this is actually taking place in the Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers universe.
Yeah, that's
right?
all up in the air right now. I'm not current on it.
I dig this. I really dig the Ranger series. It hasn't been good since Shattered Grid, but it's still solid. Like, I'm not even a Power Rangers fan, but I still enjoy seeing who shows up and the new villains and stuff.
I will say, if anybody is a digital comics reader, Humble Bundle right now has for like $25. You can get every Power Ranger comic that Boom's put out, including the classic stuff from the 90s.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's incredible.
So if you're a Humble Bundle digital comics reader, it's a great deal.
I got the entire Massiverse from Humble Bundle. That was an awesome deal.
All right, let's keep moving on. Who do we talk about for Power Rangers books getting reprinted, mapped, and in reading order? You know, my contact at Boom, not the person to talk to because they never get back to me. I don't know. And since PRH bought out Boom and lots of people lost their jobs, which really sucks, I don't even know who to talk to anymore. I like Watchmen, especially the artwork, but it's not absolutely number one. Oh, this is a discussion for this is a good discussion, Taylor. Like, what is the number one greatest comic of all time? Because we're all going to come in with different choices.
Yeah, you got to invite me on that show, and I'll have some hot takes for sure.
Your hot take is Watchmen?
No.
That's your hot take?
No, not that one. Not that one.
I'm pretty sure 90% of comic book readers will probably agree with you.
That one. 50. That one will be my safe pick.
That's your safe pick.
Omar's favorite person wrote a lot of those Power Rangers. I don't know if they're my favorite person, but next.
All right. Next up, we got what do we have? This is IDW November 2024. So first off, we got the Best of DC War Artists Edition at $150, 180 pages, 12x17. Taylor, I do believe that you have the Batman Artist Edition. Wait, Batman Year 1, right?
It's on its way. I don't have it yet, but I am excited for this one. This one, I do love artist editions.
Look at that cover, man.
I know. And what I'm most interested on, or what's most curious about this, is that it's 12x17, which would mean, I think, that because they print these like true to size of when the art was drawn on, or the paper that they're drawn on. So 12x17, I think that implies that most of this material will probably be from like post 1960s. So it's not going to be like early stuff. But it does have some great names on there. I mean, you got Kirby, Joe Kubert, John Severin, Alex Toth. I mean, if you're looking for great war comics, I think the only name you'd be missing would be like Harvey Kurtzman, but like that's like the who's who of great war comic artists right there.
That cover alone is so badass.
Yeah, like to see like original art pages from Joe Kubert doing war comics, like sign me up for that for sure. But I mean, all those names for sure. Like this is gonna be a must buy. I just can't wait for this book.
He's smoking a cigarette, man.
And I think this has complete stories in it too. I think
This is a reprint, isn't it? Because they did didn't they do a artifact edition?
Yeah, this is a new printing.
Yeah.
okay. So I think so Scott Doombeer did work on this one then.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
this is just a straight up reprint. I guess we will find out.
It has complete.
Omar, I watched your video on the Jim Lee artist edition, and just like you turning the pages and like audibly gasping at some of those,
Oh,
those
man.
splashes. It
Yeah,
was
I
just
think-
crazy.
You know, as a child of the 80s and then of course early 90s, to me, Jim Lee was, you know, to what I'm sure a lot of people in the 60s, Jack Kirby was.
Mhm.
Like, that's the way I will always remember Jim Lee. So it's weird to see people like talk about Jim Lee now, like, he's okay. He doesn't do really dynamic poses. And I'm like, what?
That baffles me.
What are we talking about? Jim Lee doesn't do dynamic poses, or he used to be better. He hit his peak. And I'm like, okay, he's getting older, man. He guy's gonna be in his 60s, or he's actually 60. Yeah, it's
As the resident Jack Kirby superfan on the channel, I agree with that notion. I think Jim Lee was definitely that revolutionary to that time period. In that what you're talking about, the late 80s, early 90s.
absolutely, yeah.
But just amazing. But these books though, like you're saying, like Omar's audibly gasping at it. Like that's what seeing these books in person is just another experience. Like Omar does great videos on them as best as you could see these pages, but you need to see one in real life. Like these books, they carry a high price tag, but they are beautifully put together.
Like I know I have some viewers that collect each and every single one of them,
Mhm.
and I mean they're pretty pricey, and I know a couple of them are picking up like the ones that are out of print.
Mhm.
They're not you know, they're not like, I'm not gonna wait for a reprint like that Micronauts book by
yeah.
Golden. Yeah, I try to find that one. I remember I was thinking about getting it, and I'm like, I don't want to start collecting these. And, you know, I had some wonderful viewers that sent me a couple of them, and I'm like, well, I guess I can get the Micronauts one. Gone.
Yeah, that was the only way to
Like,
see that
gone,
stuff collected.
gone.
That was the only way to see that stuff collected until Marvel did the omnibus. See
It
some
was,
of those pages.
yeah, nobody thought we would ever see it. Yeah, those are some rich dude. It's crazy, like, you know, to think about just how much people are willing to pay for those things, because unlike Marvel and DC, we don't know if these will ever get reprinted. I mean, some are.
They
but then
have been
precedents.
the reprints of the artist edition, because it was a one and done printing kind of thing when they first started, but they have been slowly reprinting some of them, and they do the artists in editions, which are the smaller trim paperbacks, like $40 or more affordable. So they do that as an option, but they've been reprinting some of them. Like I know that Mazzucchelli Daredevil Born Again's getting reprinted next year. And also now that Scott Doombeer is with his own company, Act 4, it makes me wonder if IDW, rather than do new artist editions, if they're just going to reprint some of the older ones they have, because they still own that material, I think.
As long as they have a contract with Marvel and DC.
Well, right. They might have to renew that part of it, but the actual scans and stuff, they own the files.
Or Scott, I'm sure does. Somebody does that can put it somewhere. All right. This is a great looking book. What's next?
Next up, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Armageddon game, deluxe edition, with here's the full scan of the cover, front, and back, which collects the entirety of the Armageddon game series and its tie-ins.
So this has been previously released as a set of 2 hardcovers, and that's what this is. This putting the 2 hardcovers together. I assume in a proper reading order. IDW does amazing jobs at like mapping books like this.
But now, how is this going to be when they get to the deluxe hardcovers?
That's the thing. Like, I'm really surprised that they didn't do a volume 17 instead, because this is double dipping a little bit, not a lot. Issues 131 and 132 have been collected in volume 16 of Ninja Turtles. And
I wonder if they're doing it for the sole purpose of like trying to market this towards the people who might only want to read Armageddon game and nothing else.
I mean, they totally can, but then volume 17 is immediately going to opening moves and Ninja Turtles 131 and 132. Those are collected in the volume 16. So yeah, it's gonna be a case of double dipping. Yeah,
like to compare it to like Marvel,
what-
I get the idea of having like a main line, omnibus line, and then also like event omnis, because they won't have 100% of the same material. But those deluxe hardcovers for Turtles collects everything. Like they don't miss anything on that, so they will collect every single one of these issues probably, right? Like this won't have issues that those don't have them.
well, we don't know if they're going to continue it or not, because I'm sure they want to focus on the Jason Aaron stuff now.
I suppose that's true.
It's a case of, do we finish out and lose money with a volume 17 and wrap up the era of Ninja Turtles, or do we continue and just focus on Jason Aaron?
They could have made the spine design to match the other deluxes, and that would have, I guess, solved that problem too. But it looks like they went with a different design even.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a case of what they think is right. I mean, obviously, the decision was made with IDW not to rush out the hardcovers.
Right.
So they had enough time, and they didn't, because I think by that point of Transformers, I mean, they were probably losing money, because now they probably were like, okay, everybody's going to be focused on the Skybound era.
Yeah.
So this is an event Omni Project Viking. There are complete stories in Best of DC War. Thank you for that. Is there any Silver Sable? Who's a fan of Silver Sable? Is it you, Taylor? Are you a fan? This is your buddy Lohi.
He is my buddy, but I would like to read the Silver Sable ongoing, but I never read it. I don't mind some, good 90s comics. She was
You're
fun.
using good and Silver Sable in the Wild Pack in the same sentence. Okay. Interesting.
It's relative. Good for 90s.
They're okay. They're okay. They're fun. They're fun. I'd give you their fun. Yeah. Actually, I dig a lot of it too. But I like the Butler's artwork.
What any thoughts on TMNT? If not, we do have the covers of the Last Ronin, Lost Years, here for $29.99 at 144 pages. It is oversized.
So they did do a Last Ronin covers collection, and it looks like they're doing the same thing for the other miniseries, which works like a prequel sequel story. I'm your buddy too, Omar. Okay, Lohit's also my buddy. I wonder what he thinks my favorite story of all time is. Next up, we got the trade paperbacks, and the first one is Earthdivers Volume 3, 1776 by Stephen Jones and David Gianfelice. This is $21.99, 208 pages, collecting issues 11 through 16 of Earthdivers.
Has anyone read this? I'm very curious by this.
This was one that piqued my interest a lot, but I'd never even heard of this until I looked at these solicits. So
because they came out the hardcover, I think, and the cover was like this awesome looking pirate ship. And pirates and horror sounds awesome to me.
No mention of Nomad. I'm so sorry, Hamza.
Or Darkhawk. We need Darkhawk too.
Oh, I know. And Sleepwalker, and somebody out there, I'm sure, wants Terror.
I just want them to collect Night Thrasher.
Well, he does know me so well. They're coming out with a collection of Night Thrasher, the omnibus of Night Thrasher and Nova. It's like a companion to New Warriors. It's wonderful. Do you even near mint, Dan?
You just blew his mind. I visibly saw his face go like, wait, what?
Yeah,
no way.
Yeah,
man.
I didn't realize. I mean,
It's all the missing issues they did. Like Fabian Nicias and then Kurt Busiek, Chris Marion.
Yeah.
Those guys went on to do the ongoing series, and they're leaving out thinking that anybody that wants this already has New Warriors Omnis, and they're leaving out those time and time again crossover issues with the New Warriors.
To be fair, Dan, it dropped in that 1 week when Omar had breaking news like every single day, so it might have got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. Oh dang, that's exciting.
He's just in gasp and shock right now.
No one wants New Warriors. This is an honest channel.
No one wants new warriors. My
Josh,
goodness.
Josh,
What?
Josh, I'm going to say something that's going to break your
no.
Taylor's heart. There are 3 and a 4th New Warriors Omni. That means that people are
Everybody
buying it.
wants them.
How many Jack Kirby Love and War Omnis have there been? Josh, I'm waiting for an answer, Josh. You can Google it. Next coming up, King, you best not miss.
We got My
What
Little
about
Pony
Warrior
Kentucky Roller Derby at 128 pages, $17.99, collecting the Kentucky Roller Derby series.
Wow. Hey, I live in Kentucky. I should totally get this.
Is that a thing, Omar? Do they have the Kentucky Roller Derby down there?
No, I've never. As long as I've lived here, I've never been to the Kentucky Derby ever. I've worked it.
Hey, that's the same with me and never going to the Indy 500. So we're simpatico and avoiding our state's favorite things.
Yeah, so instead of horses, it's cars that are going around in a circle, which is cool. If you like watching that kind of thing, that's awesome.
Sure.
Come on, it's that no one with taste wants. John, how many Iron Man? No, I'm not going to do this.
What is going on here?
Oh my gosh, poor Josh. Don't break his heart. Leave him alone. He's already mourning the Jack Kirby Love and War Omni series. All right. Well, hold on a second. Let me read this group. Hi, everyone. I have something for Marvel. I have a dream where Iron Man made a bot and dedicated this machine Walter and named this robot Sickerbot. Okay, John, you and All About need to get together to plan out how to pitch that to Marvel. John's the Iron Man guy here. He loves Iron Man. Good or bad, doesn't matter. Star Trek.
Was John the guy in Wizard Magazine back in the day that always wrote letters into how Iron Man could kill all the X-Men?
Oh my God.
Probably. I don't know. I just know he loves Iron Man. So anything.
That's like an ongoing thing in the letters columns of Wizard magazines. That's funny.
I feel like letters columns have gotten so much tamer than they used to be. They used to be just places of chaos. Like they would print anything in those, And nowadays
it's Twitter. So.
Well, okay. Well, that's a good point. That's the new letters column.
All right, John is saying that was not him. That was not him. Omar, I'm not a Golden Age Kirby. Oh no, you only hurt the man in charge of getting your information out. Smart move. What happened? I'm not sure if I hurt Josh or not. The Kentucky Roller Derby is real. Just Googled it. Roller Derby, yes, but this is the Brony Derby or whatever Taylor called it. I have been to roller derbies before here in Kentucky. My goodness, those women have some strong thigh muscles. They do armor. Oh, if you haven't been to a roller derby, I completely suggest going to a roller derby and then going to a after party where those ladies go and they have leg wrestling contests. And oh my gosh, it's amazing to just sit there and watch these ladies like try to like wrestle each other after doing the roller derby, which is insane.
Only in Kentucky.
No, I'm sure that's everywhere. People like wrestle. Can't wait to hear about where I'm putting my money. Hey, dude,
tell your work to legitimately pay you off on Mondays so that you can join us here.
Oh, you're talking about
I have been gunning for you, Bunk, for the last 3 months.
And Bruce, thank you, buddy, for the super chat. But yes, the Kentucky Roller Derby is real, and I completely tell everybody to watch it. Omar is recommending everyone go to wrestling matches. You heard, dude, I needed you earlier with the information about WrestleMania.
All right. 5500,
Star Trek,
whatever
Sons
it's called.
Star Trek. What is this about?
So this is Sons of Star Trek. This is a 4-issue miniseries being published by IDW by Morgan Hampton and Angel Hernandez. Not the umpire Angel Hernandez, the illustrator Angel Hernandez. It's $17.99, 128 pages.
That first line in the solicit, though, that capital C on Cyborg is really doing a lot of lifting there. Because otherwise it would look like the mighty pin of an acclaimed cyborg writer.
Is it bad that I wish that it wasn't capital and that
like
it was actually a cyborg?
Morgan Hampton is a cyborg.
Yeah,
that would be cool, honestly.
Sorry, that's made me chuckle. So that was really good.
No, this is not the stream where I tell you Uncanny 6 is coming.
It's gonna have X Factor 1 through 8 in it.
The Wizard Iron Man versus X-Men debate was unhinged because it went on for a while, even though it's obvious the X-Men would win. Somebody tell John that. Okay, next up
is, and last but not least, this is TMNT Black, White, and Green, collecting the entirety of the 4-issue anthology series. This is $21.99 at 152 pages.
This hasn't come out in hardcover?
Not
Mm-mm.
to my no. This is the
I
first
don't,
time.
I don't
it's
think all 4 issues have come out yet.
not yet. No,
They're
it's
going
currently
straight
coming out right now.
That is a huge surprise. They're going straight trade paperback on
Yeah.
something this big, because I really thought they were going to go with a hardcover on this. I love
Well,
anthology series, and it
I
makes
don't-
sense to have something like this.
Such
I
a
want them to just-
cool Declan Shelby cover too.
I want them to just copy Marvel
Mm.
and just go Treasury Edition with it.
Yeah, I would have too.
They would call it something else, the IDW not Treasury Edition.
No, like
Golden.
Turtles, like Treasury Edition. Treasury.
For Treasury.
Turtle Edward.
Yeah, you're. That's not going to confuse retailers.
Otherwise, I love this trend. I think it started with like Batman Black and White, but it's just an excuse to get these like people that normally don't want to work on these properties to do like a 6 to 8 page strip on these characters, and it's always fun to look at.
They're great.
Yeah,
I love
really
them.
cool creators.
Even the bad stories in the Marvel ones, or even the Harley Quinn ones, or the Red Sonja ones, they're just fun to read, and they're so quick.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, it's an anthology, so you get like hit or misses, but like the good stuff is like really unique and interesting. And
On Reddit, someone posted some letter pages from the issues of Flash where Pied Piper came out or was outed. People wrote and DC printed some wild stuff that would never fly today. I remember when. Oh, I like this. Shell, yeah, I like that, Josh. I remember when Alpha Flight, when North Star came out, the letter pages weren't that bad. They were printed a few issues later after 106. But I do remember one of them in particular, because the guy was like a grand master or grand wizard of the KKK.
they published that letter.
And of course he didn't like it, right? Of course he didn't like it.
I can't believe they published that letter.
They
That's
published
wild.
it. They published that, and there was somebody else that was upset, saying they were, I think they were done with comics and stuff. But everybody else was okay. Everybody was like, somebody was talking about, I think one of the letters, and this has been so many years. I remember when articles were coming out about this, by the way,
Mhm.
like articles that are, from newspapers, local newspapers, that were completely one-sided, talking about how they should not be, Marvel should not be doing this. It's going to corrupt children. It's going to change the way people, like kids, think. It was insane to grow up during that time and see it happen, and where we are now, right? Like where we are today. It's crazy.
I mean, I remember a few years ago, I managed to get all the original Young Avengers issues of like the first run. Just because I wanted to read them, I thought it'd be cool to collect them. And of course, because I had the original issues, I got to read all the letters pages as I was reading through it. And as like the hints about Wiccan and Hulk thing were sort of like laid about, and eventually they came out and everything, the letters pages became like a battleground, even at like the slight hint of something going on. I think someone like suggested it before it had even been confirmed, and there was like a flurry of like discussion, and it got to the point where the letters pages were almost as entertaining to read as the comics themselves, because people were like replying to letters from previous issues and everything. It was the whole thing.
Well, what are they complaining about? Just the fact that they're gay?
Yeah, it's just like the usual stuff, like,
Because I mean, where's the
not liking
complaint?
that they were gay, and
They're new characters, right? So it doesn't matter.
well,
Like,
exactly. But
the complaint with
just like
North
the hint
Star
of,
was
like,
that he's been straight and with women for all these years, but it
Yeah.
was a little bit longer history of that. Like they couldn't do the things they did later on, though. Like, so I was wondering what people were complaining about in the letter pages you were talking about, Joe.
well, and also because I remember people saying, like, even just objecting to even the idea of like a gay romance within a comics, and then people were rightfully saying, well, you have like Reed and Sue and Peter and MJ for like 40 years by that point, so yeah.
Well, I think editorial does pick and choose the letters they put there, and which is what kind of drove Jack Kirby away. But that's a story for another day. Let's go on. With
Speaking of retailers, as Omar did mention earlier, you can pre-order all of these at our continental U.S. sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, where you can find every single one of these, order them, and they have fast shipping. They have quick customer service, and they are down to the details on that. Visit cheapgraphicnovels.com for more information.
I don't even know why I'm
I don't know.
That was really
I was
good,
on
Dom.
there the other day, and there was a copy of the absolute Superman for all seasons for it's like $60 or something, and that was I'm gonna have to pull the trigger on that soon. That's
one of my favorite absolute. I think that has become like my favorite absolute edition, man. It's beautiful. Just like the amount of detail they put. Instead of changing existing characters, create new ones, create new characters.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I think that's just people, right? Like people are always going to find something to complain about.
With
It's almost like that's not the problem at all with them. It's like
a podcast I like recently did an episode talking about Superman 4 seasons, and it's almost made me consider just going straight to the absolute. I mean, we're talking about Watchmen.
You can wait for the compact, DC compact, and make that one guy happy, and buy that, and then go buy the absolute edition. Just a thought. All right, what's next, Dom?
Let's go ahead and now talk about. Oh, there we go. Talk about Dark Horse for November 2024. First one we got is on. Anyone want to have a shot at saying this? I can't say the first name.
Oh, I don't read The Witcher. My brother does, and he knows how to pronounce it because I asked him when I did an overview of one of the Witcher books from Dark Horse. But you got me. I don't remember. I got nothing, man.
Andrzej Sapkowski.
Andrzej Sapkowski.
You know what? Taylor said that like a college professor, so I believe him.
That's what you have to do. You have to say it with confidence, and then people believe you. That's the right way to say it.
Yeah, if you say anything with confidence, like you should buy the compact edition of Watchmen.
And people are like, wow, that guy knows what he's talking about.
He knows what he's talking about.
I should.
I know, right?
I've never heard this. Most of the fan art sent to Extreme Studios was drawings by Ben Ferrari, editorial intern. I never trust letter.
Ben Ferrari is a friend of mine. Well, watch what you say.
He's not saying anything negative. Don't threaten the audience, Dom.
Well, I mean, he is saying that. He is saying that he was nefariously drawing things as a fan when he actually worked for him. But I mean, like there's a history of that too, of like art contests being presented in indie comics, and then like the winner happens to be some guy's friend, but you know, it's like,
I still hold Jeffrey Scott Campbell, or as the kids call him, JSC, accountable for beating me out on my Nintendo Power contest. And
oh man, what could have been?
What I could have been drawing Gen 13 and getting paid lots of money to just do covers for Marvel. Come on.
He'd be on YouTube talking about comics.
Yeah. Wow. And then get threatened because he doesn't like the DC Compact, or told somebody about just one Watchmen.
There's a parallel universe where that exists, Omar.
Yeah, I did covers for Ben. Tell him Shelby says hi. There you go.
Dom. I will. I absolutely will.
Dark Horse has Miller World books. Magic Order is awesome.
Pretty sure that's next.
I haven't read Magic Order, but I've read some of the other Miller World stuff. All right. Next, right. Dead Space.
Dead Space, 224 pages, $49.99.
Why is this? What's the size on this? 9 by 12. So it's not oversized, is it? Not completely oversized.
9 by 12. I think that's like absolute size, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absolute size.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a library edition then.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Okay, nice. Don't tell Dom not to threaten us. Sometimes we need someone to threaten to turn the car around and keep us in line. Okay, don't tell me what to do with Dom, Ben.
I love how Dan was nodding there, so like in agreement.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, the amount of times I've had to say I'm going to turn this car around is the level's high. So.
Wait a second. Is Joe younger than Dom? Is Dom now one of the NMC elders by default? I hope so. Joe, if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to reveal, but how old are you?
21.
21.
He's younger than me.
Yes, Dom. Welcome to the AARP club, buddy.
I do have AAA insurance, so.
That's not
Yeah,
the same thing.
It's definitely. I know it's not the
Right.
same thing.
When I started posting on League of Comic Geeks, and Joe was posting there, it was a few years ago, and he was like, oh, I'm 19. I'm like, whoa, like, because it's been years since I was 19.
Yeah, I don't even remember 19. I want a Fed Alvarez Dead Space film. Wouldn't the art of Dead Space just be blank pages? I do not apologize for this show. You should, John. Dom is the elder now. That's right. You're the old guy in the stream.
Let's
that's what it feels
go,
like.
baby.
Okay. Next
up, we got
What is this?
Bowling with Corpses and Other Strange Tales from Lands Unknown by Mike Manola and Dave Stewart on Colors. $24.99, 112 pages.
Yeah, this is standard size hardcover. They've been putting these out in standard size and then eventually trade paperbacks, and then I'm sure it'll be some part of some collection. Who's the who is it written by Mignola? It is,
Yeah.
huh?
It's written by Manola.
Sweet.
It looks like he's doing a lot of the art too, which is
I'm in.
different.
All right, Dom. Let's
No
keep
one
going.
says no, it's a Mignola. We got Critical Roles, Tales of Exandria Volume 2, Deluxe Edition. This is $69.99. It is standard size, though, despite the deluxe label, and it is 120 pages, collecting the 4-issue series.
Dude, can you click on the I want to see just a closer look at it. Oh, that is pretty. Because it does come with a print.
And a slipcase.
Yeah. And I want to say it's also available in hardcover format too, not just a slipcase. Yes, and I like the Alien Romulus. I thought it was a good film.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you. It's Mignola's new ongoing project. Sweet. How old is Dom? He's
I was
old
wondering
enough.
that,
96.
actually.
Old enough.
I can drink,
Old enough to drink.
but I've never drank before, so.
Good for you, Dom. Really proud of you, buddy.
It's still a flex that I can show on people. But
All right. That is Critical Role Volume 2 bar.
And this is Magic Order Library Edition Volume 1. I believe this is the second of the library editions that Millar has put out of his series. $59.99, 376 pages, and wonderful illustrations from superstars Stuart Immonen and Olivier Coipel, collecting the second series of Magic Order.
I don't like this trend of Solicit saying it collects these 2 trade paperbacks. Like, I'd rather just say it collects issues 1 through 12.
It gets confusing.
It is, because then you have to trickle down and be like, okay, so what do those trade paperbacks collect?
Marvel has done it one time and it stumbled. I could tell that it stumbled Peter when we were mapping books for Marvel, and it was the Spider-Man Ben Reilly Omnibus Volume 2. Instead of telling you the issues of Spider-Man that are collected, they tell you it's collecting the Redemptions or Revelations trade paperback. So when we did the mapping, he left out 2 issues, and I was like, "Why'd you leave out 2 issues? Or why did you put 2 extra issues in this omnibus? It's been collected in the Ben Reilly Omni." And he's like, "No, it hasn't." And I'm like, "Who are you talking to, dude? I am not just run of the mill." So we went back and forth on that one, and yeah. So what they did, I didn't realize this, is they had put in collects this trade paperback instead of the issues. I am also with you, man. I hate when companies do that.
Yeah,
Like,
I noticed
it throws me off.
Dark Horse and Image do it every once in a while, and it's like it's confusing.
But this is Immonen and Coipel in library edition
Yeah.
size. There goes. That is, even if you don't like Mark Miller's artwork, right? It's gonna have writing. It's gonna have some beautiful artwork.
That is, I think that's just the case for every single Millar book that I've read in the last 5 years. Like, even if I'm not 100% on the right, he always gets top tier shelf artists for every single one of his books.
Yeah, say what you want about Mark Miller, but he will invest in getting good artists for sure.
And and all the artists get paid and they get their royalties, and
They're all happy. They'll all say that. They'll say Mark Miller pays me more than anybody else has ever paid me.
Dude, anybody I've ever interviewed that has worked with Miller, it's like, oh yeah, they never speak ill of him. Like they really
100%.
like him.
That's why Frank Quietly, it was a battle between Mark Miller and Grant Morrison of who could get Frank Quietly, and Mark Miller, he won that one.
money talks, man. He has a huge deal with Netflix right now for things that haven't come out yet, and Jupiter's Legacy that did get canceled, but still that check was written. So I don't know what else they'll do.
Yeah, Netflix has like carte blanche to do whatever they want with those properties if they want to do it.
I will say that
I didn't realize. Go ahead, Don.
Grant Morrison and Frank Wiley are doing an ongoing series, I believe, on Substack for Substack people only.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Mm.
Well, hopefully it sees print one day.
I agree. Go ahead, Omar.
Oh, I didn't realize how much Netflix was pulling until Bruce, one of our viewers, broke it down for me. And I was like, because I was like, how are they affording to write these checks for like the Knives Out series, which hasn't even been made? Like, and that's just not, not including the actors or how much, it's going to cost to actually make the movies and post-production. It's just a freaking check.
Well, yeah,
And,
I mean,
dude, he broke it down and I was like, oh.
When the streaming services first started, Netflix got such a head start on all these companies that, like, if you see like the estimated subscriber counts for all these streaming services, Netflix is like way ahead of everybody still, which is kind of wild. But over the years, I'm sure that'll shrink down. But right now, like, they still are like leaps and bounds ahead of anyone else with subscriber counts.
All right,
more Next up, we got Marvel comic covers of Taylor's favorite artists of all time, Volume 1, $49.99 at 184 pages. This is collecting 175 Kirby covers from 61 to 64.
I can't wait for this. I actually know the guy that's working on this. He started off. So how he got this gig, though, this is an interesting story. He got a bunch of scans of original art from like the Heritage Auction House website and made his own artist edition, like hardcover, like printed it and everything to make it look like a true to size artist edition. And then he sent some copies to Cartoonist Kayfabe. This is like last year. And as like a kind of like a token, like I'm a big fan of whatever. So Cartoonist Kayfabe showed it off on their channel, this fake artist edition that the guy made. And then that became kind of like this guy's business card. He went to different publishers showing it off. And then he got this deal with Dark Horse where he's working on this. And I think there's like a Art of Spider-Man book coming out later in another month from Dark Horse as well. It's kind of a similar thing that he's working on. But obviously, yes, the Jack Kirby covers, like, this is going to be amazing to see. The cool thing about this is, though, is because if you're a Jack Kirby fan, which all of you should be, Jack Kirby, he did so many covers that he didn't work on the interiors of, that if you like want like everything Jack Kirby ever worked on, there's not really a collection of that. So it's gonna be cool to have all these covers for books that he didn't really work on the interior of these certain issues, just to have a big collection of it.
Okay, this is gonna sound really naive maybe, but how do you even approach somebody and saying, I have no legal way of actually printing this, nor do I own the original copies of these pictures I'm going to send you, nor do you own any of these characters, but let's work out a deal where we can print this book? Like, how do you even approach a company like that? That's insane.
Oh no, sorry.
It's not like you know what I'm saying? It's not like it was creator-owned characters by Jack Kirby. It's not like you're getting it's not like you had the original art to begin with.
No. Sorry. I probably misconstrued that.
Okay.
The book that he did was not this book or any of these books. It was just kind of
okay.
Him showing off what he could do with book design, basically. Like, I made the book by myself.
But obviously, I mean, this got their attention and it's got Marvel. So they approved this. So that's really cool. Okay. I just wondered how all that works, man.
No. It wasn't this exact book. It was just like, here's the kind of thing I could do with book design and what I care about with art and stuff. And they're like, oh, cool, let's work on a project, kind of thing.
Thank you, Bruce, for the super chat. Disney Plus is number 2 at 153 million global. Netflix is 200, and that is almost doubled.
See,
that's crazy.
And then when you see the prices and you go by month, even month by month, and then year end, you're like, oh, that's how they're able to like just write these blank checks to people. That is
think about all the memes of when Netflix raises the prices, and there's like all those memes out like they're raising the prices again, but still, they still dominate in subscriber counts.
I think most people my brother, like, they don't care. They're like, what? They're raising their price. They're automatic withdrawal. I don't care. whatever.
That is why we have apps specifically designed to prevent you from having these subscriptions that come out every month. Like the fact that they had to make an app for people to understand, like, you have all these subscriptions coming out of your account that you don't even realize. Like that shows the excess of our society.
This includes the Conan Elric illustrations from Giant Size Conan. I hope so too. I hope there's stuff in there that I haven't seen. Kirby was the best comic book artist of it all time, and I'll die on that hill. He might not have had photorealistic drawings or anything like many modern artists, but it's quintessential comic book art to me.
That's the viewer of the day, Omar, right there.
You, Taylor, and Josh need to start a channel. Why we love Jack the King Kirby so much.
To my understanding, this is just the covers from 61 to 64. There'll be like another volume that collects the years after that.
Really cool. The artist editions are printed photographs, on their own photos. Publishers only own the rights to reproduce the work they paid the creators for, and the artists own the original art. But it wasn't like artists weren't getting back the original art during this time, though. That's the thing. That didn't happen until later. That didn't happen until, hey, we could sell these. I mean, there's a whole like history behind that. So I was curious how somebody could just go to another publisher that's not Marvel.
And also to that point, like IDW can't just do these artist editions without Marvel or DC's permission either. Like if Marvel wanted to push back hard enough, they could certainly put a stop to it.
Oh,
so they have to work out those deals.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you're making money off of anything, especially if it includes a character by Marvel or DC,
right.
You got to.
So they might not own that original art, but they do own those characters. So
why is it that between IDW and Dark Horse, like why aren't DC and Marvel publishing these themselves? It's just
I can answer that really quick. It's because they don't have the manpower to do it. We're still waiting on a box set, the second box set of something that came out a long time ago from Marvel Comics. That it was supposed to be announced and solicited in 2020, and it's 4 years later. They just don't have the that's why Fantagraphics is still doing all the Duck comics, because technically Marvel, Disney can pull all that stuff. That's why Dynamite is now working on DuckTales. All of that stuff is done by Marvel, but it's just they don't have the manpower, and it takes a lot.
And also, like, it's just finding a different audience too, because someone came up with that question the other day on Twitter about why does Fantagraphics do the Atlas comics now, and not Marvel? It's the audience that's going to want those Atlas comics isn't going to be what the typically like Marvel. A lot of their solicits and stuff for collected editions are like modern stuff or Silver Age, Bronze Age. The Golden Age stuff wasn't selling. They tried it in the Masterworks previously. So why not farm that out to a company that's going to do their own type of restoration and find those art fans, so the classic fans that are going to like that stuff, So, I mean, Marvel has deals with not only those two companies, they have like Taschen, Folio Society, Viz Media, or Viz does some manga, like Star Wars manga and things. So it's like, which I guess that's Disney, not Marvel, but they farm out things to find the different audiences that they can't, like Omar said, they don't have the manpower to find those audiences themselves.
The only problem or the only issue I ever see with anything like that, it comes with restoration of older stuff. Like the Atlas stuff, I'm curious how that stuff is going to be restored by Fantagraphics, because that is expensive.
Oh, it looks amazing. Have you not seen them yet?
No.
They look gorgeous. I'm dying to get my hands on every single one of those hardcovers. They look beautiful.
How many have they had out so far?
They have 3 out so far. But
the 4th one.
They look beautiful. But they don't restore it the same way like the Marvel Masterworks does, which I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. But I think it's Michael. I don't know what's the guy's name that did it. There was a Atlas at War book. Did you get that one back in the day, Omar?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
so it's that same kind of restoration.
The same guy that did the restoration on that is doing the restoration on the Atlas books for Fantagraphics.
Oh, that's cool.
Same guy.
Okay.
And he's doing like the Jose Villarrubia way, where he's like trying to make it look as close to possible as what it looked like when it was first printed.
Oh man, I love Jose, but some of his takes,
he's very opinionated.
Yeah. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you so much for that, Kane. And Bruce, thank you for the super chat. There have been many stories where fans would visit Marvel's offices in the 60s and 70s, and they would give away the original art to them. Absolutely. Yeah. You hear about this because they were cluttering, right? But I just learned from my UK viewers, I guess better than what they were doing unfortunately, at 2000 AD, where they were just burning the stuff to make room or just throwing it away. That just hurts.
I hear similar stories in Japan with mangaka. Like they don't like original art's not a big deal in Japan like it is here either. So think about all the manga pages, especially too, that they work on. And obviously Japan, like the houses and stuff are a lot smaller. It's not really storage space to store all that original art and stuff. But
yeah, I always think about like the biggest collections, like, you know, hobbies and things like that when it comes to like toys and stuff come from Japan. And the living quarters over there, like in Tokyo, are insanely small sometimes. I'm like, where's everybody putting this stuff? Where's everybody putting this stuff? It's insane. All right, let's go.
Next up, we got the all-nighter by channel friend of Melanie's, Chip Zdarsky and Jason Liu. This is going to collect.
Yeah, I know. I like how it's Melanie's friend, not Omar's.
Yeah, not me.
Him and Omar are just acquaintances, but him and Melanie are friends.
I know that. I may know him. Yeah, cool. Jason Liu. Anybody reading this series?
I'm waiting for.
Absolutely.
I was gonna ask Joe if he was reading it because this seems right down his alley.
I'm not up to date with it, but I absolutely loved the first volume when it came out, so I'm very excited to. I need to read the second one and then this one, but yeah,
I read the
first. The library edition would be awesome as well.
Yeah. I read the first couple issues and I liked it. I think I just kind of lost track of it. I'm surprised it's already this far along. It seems like not that long ago that it came out. So
yeah, and I think this is the final volume, if I remember correctly. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Okay, is it the Comixology series?
Yeah, originally on Comixology.
Originally,
okay. Right. I noticed that Dark Horse has been doing a lot of that too.
Yeah,
manga pages are now owned by companies. Ooh, that's not good. Digital it is then for those people. It's a fairly recent concept that this stuff is considered valuable art. To be honest, comics in the 60s were literally disposable to some people.
I mean,
that just kind of hurts to think about, you know.
Yeah, back to Jack Kirby. Like, he has a big fight he had in the 80s with Marvel, is trying to get his original art back. And when you're talking about giving them away to fans and stuff, like imagine how hard it was to get his pages back. And he only ended up getting like 30% of his pages back that he originally wanted anyways. But
all right, what's next
up? We got Aquina by Matteo Casali and Rachel Aragno. This is an original graphic novel, $29.99, 144 pages.
That price point seems high.
And trade paperback format too.
Yeah,
that seems in the four. Yeah, it's standard size too. It's interesting.
What is next, Dom?
Next up, we got Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, Solek's Journey by Ray Fox and Gabriel Guzman. This is going to collect the entirety of the 6-issue miniseries, $19.99, 136 pages.
Ray Fox, the same guy that was doing some Marvel stuff?
Yep, the same Ray Fox who took over Robin after Patrick Gleason left the title during the New 52.
Ah, okay.
He did what was it? It was Batman Eternal or Batman and Robin Eternal, I think.
He did a lot of those villain one shots during Villains Month during New 52.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't know they made Avatar comics like this Avatar.
Oh, they have a bunch of them.
Do they?
I don't know anything about them besides that I see them a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't.
Next up, we got Bandette, Volume 4, The Six Finger Secrets by Paul Tobin and Colleen Coover. This is 144 pages at $14.99.
Has anyone read this? Because this is like an all ages comic, and it's by Paul Tobin, who did Plants vs. Zombies. And my son loves those comics, so I've always been wanting to see if he would like this or not. But
I have not.
Maybe I'll seek it out then.
Alrighty. Well, note. The Butcher's Boy is up next by Landry Q. Walker and Brad Simpson. This is going to collect the 4-issue series that they've done at $19.99, 136 pages.
Really cool cover.
Yeah, the cover's awesome.
That is a cool cover.
Yeah, it's nice.
The teeth. Next up, we got the complete ElfQuest Volume 8 Future Quest by Wendy Peeney and Richard Peeney, of course. Jinx 1 through 12, Rebels 1 through 12, and Stargazer's Hunt are collected in this volume at $29.99, 736 pages.
Omar, were you an ElfQuest guy? Did you read ElfQuest?
I did a little bit when I was in middle school, and then I had stopped. And honestly, the last ElfQuest I read was the one that Dark Horse sent me last year, maybe early this year, and it was the Stargazer's Hunt. I don't recommend that as your first book to read for ElfQuest because there were deaths of characters that I remember, and I'm like, oh, that happened in another book. It's a beautiful book, though. Like, this has a lot of beautiful artwork. And Richard and Wendy had been working on this stuff, I mean, for years. I was in middle school when I was reading this because it was a friend of mine that had gotten into Ninja Turtles. That got me into Ninja Turtles when we were like in the 5th grade because his dad had been collecting them. And his dad also got into ElfQuest.
Yeah, I mean, it's up there with like Bone and Turtles, and Cerebus is like one of those like independent, truly creator-owned comics that came out like literally from the ground up. These people just built this and self-published it to start off with, and for years, like you said. I never read it though. My library used to have some copies back in the day, but it just never appealed to me. But I've always been curious by it.
They were self-published for so long, and then they made deals with different companies, much like Strangers in Paradise, right? And then eventually, I'm glad that they found a home, because I think for something like this, you have to find a home that is willing to publish all of your volumes.
At this point, to have like a definitive set that collects everything is super nice. But
yeah, and these are the same kind of build as like their omnibus editions, the softcover omnis.
Oh, okay.
And the Usagi Yojimbo saga.
Yeah,
books. Yeah,
they're a big seller in my local comic shop. Lots of people like always gone out for ElfQuest volumes like these, anyways.
Yeah, Usagi is another one of those independent black and white.
I mean, there were several when I was growing up. Like it wasn't uncommon back then to hear somebody talk about ElfQuest or to hear somebody talk about Turtles or Cerebus. I remember Cerebus a lot. And then I remember like things like Milk and Cheese sneaking in there.
Oh, Evan Dorkin, yeah.
Yeah, that was solid, man. That's one of my favorite collections. I still have that hardcover.
Did you ever read Dork by Evan Dorkin?
Oh, it's like I read his other book that he did. What was the
I'll think of it.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. That one's so good. Yeah.
Dork had Milk and Cheese in it. I think that might be where it debuted, but there's like his one-man anthology stories, and like
I didn't read that one.
It's hilarious, but then when you get to like issue 7, it like flips it on its head, and it's like this amazing issue. You have to read it, but I highly recommend it if you're a Dorkin fan.
All right. What is next, Dom?
Next up, we got Critical Role, Tales of Exandria Volume 2. Artagon has the same contents as it was in the slipcase edition that we saw earlier. You're just getting the trade paperback only this time at 120 pages at $19.99.
How much was the slipcase one?
$69.99. That comes with the print. This is just a trade, no print, no slipcase.
I was just thinking, because I mean the slipcase one looks so nice that why go for this? But I mean that's a big price difference for someone just checking it out. So
they've done non-slipcase editions of them too. So I was curious why they decided to do just a slipcase without the hardcover too. Instead, they did a trade paperback. So that's a really interesting move. All right, let's keep going, Dom.
Danganronpa
2.
Chiaki Nanami's Goodbye Despair Quest Volume 2, one of the Dark Horse manga series, $13.99, 192 pages.
But my oldest daughter was huge into the video games at one point. Not so much so anymore. She read some of these though. What's next? I saw some EC love down there. What do we
next got? Up? Omar's favorites, the EC Archives Tales from the Crypt, Volume 5, 1999, 216.
This is the final volume. This one actually has a forward by Bruce Campbell, and
oh, that's cool.
It breaks my heart to say it's the final one, but it is the final one.
Some of
Only
this
could have
might be one of the best values in comics right now, because it's like magazine trim sized,
Mhm.
200 plus pages, only $20, and these are some of the best comics you'll ever read.
Yeah,
Jack Davis, Graham Ingle.
I have viewers that only get hardcovers, but they make an exception for the EC archives because those EC archives hardcovers are impossible to find.
Yeah,
And then Gemstone and Dark Horse never really finished out some of those series in hardcovers, and some of them are getting now softcover treatment. So as long as they're doing it, yeah, I'm good with.
especially for Halloween season. I guess this comes out in January. Never mind. But if you're looking for something for Halloween season, pick up some of these Tales from the Crypt or Vault of Horror archives.
It was cool.
Absolutely.
It's cool to see Oni Press doing the new EC books. The what is it?
Oh,
Epitaphs
dude.
from the Abyss and
Yeah,
Cool
they were
Universe.
so excited about getting that license. They were so excited, and I couldn't say
I mean,
anything. Oh, that's I'm so happy for them. Does Taylor read modern day? Shots fired. No, Taylor only reads comics by dead people.
Yeah,
those are his favorite
you have
comics.
You have to die first before I'll read your comics. No, I read a lot of modern indie stuff. If you were to, like, the easiest way to say my tastes are probably like older classic big two comics and modern indies. But
You, my friend, are keeping the industry afloat.
I try.
You're doing your
That's right.
job. All right. What is this?
This
Yeah,
is Into the Unbeing
Zach
Volume
Thompson.
1, another Zach Thompson book with Hayden Sherman and Liam Campbell joining him. We got it at 120 pages, 1999, collecting the first volume series of Into the Unbeing.
And is this a series that somebody had read already? Joe, was that you?
No, it's just one I mentioned earlier when we were talking about Blow Away because it looks really cool.
Got it. Okay.
And all this is what, 4 issues? Is that what it is?
I think so.
It is a volume 1. Let me go ahead and check the because it wasn't in the solicitation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think Zach Thompson said there's going to be more.
I don't know how
there's
many
4
of them
issues.
are out yet. How many? Do you know how many are out right now? Or is it just the one?
No. I think maybe a couple of them. I'm not entirely sure. I know I've seen the comparisons to like Annihilation and not the Marvel Comics event, the novel and then the film.
Yeah, that cover looks
I haven't
wild.
had a chance to read it yet.
As of this video, 3 are out. 3 issues are out. So
Oh
far.
wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Next up, we got Stephen Byrne and Brian Michael Bendis's Joy Operations Volume 2 at 112 pages, $24.99. The second series of this, so this is the brand new series. I read the first series.
I did too. What did you think, Dom? Be honest.
I thought it was very interesting and not what all I expected.
Okay. But did you like it?
I thought it was okay.
I think I liked it more than you. I dug it.
Oh, okay.
You know how I feel about Bendis.
I do.
I thought that was cool. I liked the concept, and I thought, who's the Stephen Byrne? Did he do the first one?
He did,
I
yeah,
can't
and he's doing the second one too.
The art was solid, but the colors is what blew me away. I thought the colors were solid, man.
Bendis always gets good artists to draw his books. This is sort of I remember selling the concept on people at my comic shop with like, if you want a very colorized Venom, you should go pick this up. And I was able to get a lot of people cooked on it. Yeah,
That's how you sold it.
Yeah, that's how I sold people on it.
I would go more like cyberpunk a little bit, maybe like Akira,
That's fair. Yeah.
Venom. Okay. No, I dig it, man. I thought it was a fun series, and I'm glad it's continuing. Something we haven't talked about that is really, really interesting and says a lot about these creators is when Mark Miller said, "I'm going over to Dark Horse," we knew that Mark Miller immediately was going to release library editions. I am so surprised that Bendis came over to Dark Horse with his library, and there are no library editions, no hardcovers. and of his like really popular series that have already had collections in omnibus format and deluxe hardcovers, like Powers, or even some of his crime noir stuff. I am so shocked they haven't done that yet. And I don't know if it's because of him or because of Dark Horse. I know when I saw him at, I think it was Baltimore Comic Con last year, I asked the question at his panel and he was like, well, you know, maybe in the future is something like that, which he threw out there, which leads me to believe that maybe it's not just up to him. Whereas if you're Mark Miller's like, look, if you don't do this in library editions, then I'll take this deal somewhere.
I wonder if it is a weird issue then with, because remember Reminder had that thing where Dark Horse still owned the rights to oversized Fear Agent, so you had to wait a certain amount of time before Image could do that.
Yep.
I wonder if there's something like that then with his stuff.
Maybe, I don't know, but
he's been releasing those thick trades for the Power series, like with Dark Horse, and it is, like you said, like it's an interesting choice to go that route first when you go back to Dark Horse or whatever. But
yeah, just something I noticed. But all right, what's next, Dom?
Next up, we got Masters of the Universe Revolution by Rob David, Tim Sheridan, Teddy Biaselli, and Keith Champagne. 112 issues, 1999, collecting the 4-issue series of Masters of the Universe Revolution.
The owner of the shop that I go to will buy anything that has He-Man on it or He-Man related, and so he said this was pretty good. This has been pretty good so far. So.
Okay. I know it's taking place in that universe. I haven't had a chance to read this one. I read the previous one, which almost worked like a prequel.
Right.
All right, Dom, let's keep on trucking because we still have Image to go, right?
Image? Still do. Mega Ghost Volume 1 by Gabe Soria and Gideon Kendall. Collecting issues 1 through 5 of the OG series. It's 168 pages, 1999.
I just like the name. It's a sweet name, Mega Ghost.
True,
that's got.
I agree.
That's got.
I agree.
That's got 90s comic feel to it. You know, I could see Mega Ghost taking on the Wildcats or something,
or like a heavy metal band. Mega Ghost.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. I like that. Next up, we got Resident Alien Volume 8, The Book of Life by Peter Hogan and Steve Parkhouse, not to be confused with Josh Greathouse. 96 pages, 1999.
I have not seen the show, but I did like the first couple of trades of this. Am I going back to Baltimore this year? No, we're doing New York Comic Con this year. Melanie and I will be at New York this year. Maybe Baltimore next year. Go ahead.
I'll be
Dan.
at Baltimore this year, though. No, I was just saying I'll be at Baltimore this year. So,
well, so will Paperback Dan. You two, Dan.
Here we go.
You guys should have like a Dan Fest.
The con will be big enough for both Dans. Well, we can be sure of that.
A Dan Palooza.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I am going back to New York Comic Con. Here's another title. Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures Phase 3 Volume 2 that Dark Horse is doing, but so is Viz. Viz is also doing the the Star Wars High Republic manga, and we have this. So it's interesting to see how much of this is just branching out everywhere.
And there's like prose novels too, aren't there?
Yes, that's what this whole thing is like. That is the foundation of this entire era.
Yeah.
Is the novels. And I love the part that every one of these have to play. I know it's not for everybody, but I'm digging it. And the High Republic Volume 1 is the best-selling Star Wars omnibus, which shocked me.
Wow.
Because I was like, but what about all this old stuff like the Dark Horse or the Jason Aaron? Nope, it's the High Republic.
That is interesting.
Which is why they rushed Volume 2 out. It's crazy. I'm just trying to get that new coat. Don't say there's a new variant. That's not the variant I'm looking for.
But
I don't know Josh. I don't know Josh. Okay, House. Don't know who that guy is. What is this one, Dom?
This is True Weird Volume 1 by James Tynan, my friend Steve Fox, and Lonnie Nadler with Michael Oeming on art, as well as Klaus Janson, collecting backup stories from Blue Book Series 1 and 2, 120 pages, $24.99.
This sounds awesome. This is like Unsolved Mysteries, but comic form.
Dude, I don't know how they haven't made this like. I know the stories that he's using for Blue Book is things, especially if you're into the supernatural or UFOs. are things we've all heard, but it's just so cool to see it in a graphic novel format. I love it. Blue Book almost was one of my favorite reads last year. It creeped me out, even though I know that story front to back. It still managed to creep me out. Am I the only one who can read 800 pages prose but will not pick up a comic with heavy dialogue because too many words? Yes. No, I don't think so, Bart. My wife reads books faster than she does comics. She has the hardest time reading comics fast. Like, she can't do it. Are the new Image Fear Agents library editions? They're library editions, brother. You haven't gotten them yet? I'm asking for a friend who hasn't read the End League.
Yeah, those are library editions. I have the old Dark Horse ones, but the new Fear Agent volumes are the same size as the other giant generator hardcovers that they've been putting out for the last couple of years.
As a fan of Fear Agent, as I believe is Rick Remender's magnum opus, I kept my Dark Horse comics, my Dark Horse M. I have the new Image ones. There's one story that's left out from the Image ones by Cebulski. Yeah.
How many were there 2 trade paperbacks for Blue Book?
Second one hasn't come out yet, but
okay.
I think it's due out soon. Yeah,
I do love that they're collecting the backup strips though, because a lot of times when they have backup strips in comics, like that stuff will never be collected. Like they just like leave it off the collected editions. So it's cool that they're still doing that.
Tiny Onion is a machine, like a machine, and a machine that, between us, doesn't have to be writing comics. He made a sweet deal with Netflix. He doesn't have to write comics for a long time. If Tiny and Colin Bunn took a season off, the comics industry would. Colin is insane. I don't know how he does it. Hey, Pecan, how are you? It's 2:31. A real viewer.
Welcome in, man.
I'd throw Jeff Lemire's name in there too as a workhorse that's constantly putting stuff out.
Yeah.
He's slowed down a little bit.
I don't know if it's as much as Colin Bunn. I think Colin Bunn has to be the guy that puts out. And I'm not doing a pissing contest here.
Right,
I'm just saying, like, it feels like every solicit has a. Have we talked about a Colin Bunn book? This might be the first solicit we've done that we haven't done a Colin Bunn book.
I think the only thing I'd give Lemire the edge on is that he's usually drawing a series too, as well, like as he's writing other stuff.
What did he sell over there?
I think
Something is killing the children.
Department of Truth, and I think they're working out Something is Killing the Children as a bundle, dude. So I know the guy
we named 2 different things. That's how much he's selling over there. Is we named 2 different things.
Yeah.
I know the guy that helped the deal together, and he was like, he kind of gave me the ballpark of how much he got. I'm like, but none of that has been made yet. This is insane. Which made me question, how much money does Netflix have?
Yeah, to that
but all Tiny and stuff is good, dude. He's one of those also that I really enjoyed everything. Omar says Bun. I do. Well, you can put that as a text.
Bun.
Like Miller, does that mean they're just buy the rights of? I mean, that's the thing, right? I don't know if people are aware, but companies love buying the rights to things. Doesn't matter if they ever put anything out. It keeps somebody else from putting it out.
I mean, Jeff Smith's Bone's been optioned for so many years. So like every year he gets a paycheck from these companies that want to option it, and we still have never seen it adapted. So yeah, these studios will option anything they can get their hands on. Especially now that you see like Marvel, DC movies making it what they are in the box office. They're constantly seeking out IPs to buy.
Tim, I'm getting old with bad and blurry eyesight. I'm sorry, buddy. For a few seconds, I thought the show title was Convicted Felon November Brief. Don, we need to work on that text.
We do.
I think I've got to go then.
Thank you to Mr. Taylor for the shout out earlier. This is The Crow, 152 pages, 24.99.
Stan Sakai. Is this his new one?
Yes.
Okay, so he usually sells the new collections in hardcover format through his own website. I don't know if he's doing it with this. I know Dark Horse does the soft covers, and I guess the deal with IDW fell through, which kind of breaks my heart because I wanted to see more of the color collections.
Oh, this says it's in color.
Yeah, it's in color.
I think this is a recent series.
Yeah, that's the last slide.
Oh, okay. Man, that's crazy to see it in color then.
Yes, he brought his the new. He's just not worth anything he was doing with IDW is brought over to Dark Horse.
So are they going to go back and reprint all of them in color again?
I'd assume eventually Dark Horse probably would, because
That's nuts.
he totally left IDW. He's only with Dark Horse now.
So
Besides Fantagraphics having, the
I saw that
publishing
he
rights.
made that, but I thought IDW, it was a case of like owning the oh wait, no, it's creator owned, and we're gone beyond that. Okay, got it. We'll get to this one here in a little bit, Pecan. And this is the latest Vampire Hunter D Omnibus Volume 7, collecting 3 volumes in one.
19 through 21.
Not a manga, but a novel. These are novels with Yoshitaka Amano breaking up the chapters. So you do get some Amano artwork in there, but if you're looking for a manga by Amano and freaking out, it is not. It's a prose.
Last but not least, from Dark Horse, we do have William of Newbury by Michael Avon Oweming. 112 pages, 1999, collecting the entirety of the miniseries.
Oh, this is all ages? I'm going to have to look this up.
Michael Avon Omen.
Oh yeah, I've heard about it.
Hellboy meets Red Bull.
Oh, that's a convincing comparison there.
All right.
All right, that's it.
One more company.
Now
It's
on to Image Comicos. First up, we got the hardcovers Anzuelo by Emma Rios, $24.99, coming out this year on the 6th of November. This is a original graphic novel by Emma Rios.
Oh, she did Through the Woods. Or no, Emily Carroll did Through the Woods. Okay.
Oh, it's her boy.
Pretty Deadly. Okay, that's why I recognize the name. That's what she did. I don't even know what this is, but it's an original graphic novel coming straight into hardcover.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, Image has been dabbling in that kind of market, which I really like. That they're doing some of these OGNs now for some people.
Yeah, we're way behind on Europe. Like, this is something that Jack Kirby envisioned, right? One day we want to go the European style of graphic novels.
Yeah,
Really cool. I don't think unfortunately, I don't think these are the kind of things that retailers like comic book stores like seeing, though. Like,
right.
The single weekly issues is what they like to see.
I think eventually the market in America will be half and half. Like, I don't think single issues will ever go away, because obviously comic book shops would all die if they did. But I think we're going to see more and more of these, and then hopefully retailers will have a combination of both.
We started to see some from Marvel and DC. Marvel and DC will be the biggest ones. Like Abrams
Right.
Books publishing Marvel's graphic novels.
Mm-hmm.
But Marvel themselves haven't done it, which I know they like to keep the comic shops alive. What's next, Dom?
Next up, we got a book plate. So this is specifically for shops, and they are signed by Emma Rios, so you can only get these at direct markets.
That's like a ratioed variant single issue type deal. You have to,
Yes.
Every 10 copies you order, you get a book plate.
A 1 in 10 variant.
Interesting.
Oh, gosh.
What is the this is the one that looks like it's up Taylor's alley, if anything, down here. The complete dead.
This is the complete
erotica,
dead bone.
Not because of the erotica,
Right.
but
No,
just because it's such
Uh-huh.
a weird collection.
No, I appreciate you adding that caveat in there. No,
yeah.
Von Baudet, Von and Mark Baudet, they're huge pioneers of the underground comics movement in the 60s with like R. Crumb and Spain Rodriguez, the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. So yeah, I saw this whenever Dom sent me the what we were talking about today, and I don't think there's not a lot of Baudet collections, so this will be interesting.
I remember seeing that little creature. I don't remember the chick. It's just so weird that somebody's putting it out there and in hardcover format. I assume
love it. Like,
this is gonna be like Normal Normal Man sold out. Like, it's gone. It's out of print. Whatever they put out there is it.
we've got to preserve this weird ephemera of comics history, or else it'll just die away. And look at that blurb by Mobius. Oh, Dom just covered it up, but Vaughn was one of the Lights of America by Mobius.
So is it Baudet or Bode?
I always pronounce it Baudet, but I guess
because it has the accent at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the little green creature. I don't remember the erotica part of that.
Yeah.
You know, underground comics. Let's go next. And Lay is saying my local comic book store loves Brubaker's Phillips OGNs. Where is she pointing? I do not apologize for this.
Hey, underground comics came out of the Comics Code Authority becoming a thing and like almost killing the entire industry. So all these self-published underground comics came through and said, F that, we're going to push the boundaries even further than you guys were complaining about with EC Comics and those kinds of things. So they pushed the boundaries.
Well, they
as
didn't
far
have to
as you
abide
can.
by the comics code. They could do
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
It's like, we'll find a way to get around that and sell it only in head shops, which is like where people that like to do recreational hallucinogenics would shop at regularly. So
That
underground
looks like
comics.
the right target audience for the dead bone erotica. All right, what's next?
So after that, we
Desolation
got
Jones.
Desolation Jones, the Biohazard edition, a reprint of Warren Ellis's and J.H. Williams III's series right here, $39.99, and oversized and an interesting cover choice. So
I have not read.
Williams' artwork in this is amazing. And
I mean, when is J.H. Williams' artwork never? I mean, like it's.
that's
I can't.
fair.
I've never read this. I haven't read this before though. But that lineup right there is like when you have like an NBA roster that has like a starting lineup of nothing but studs. Because like Ellis and J.H. Williams, obviously those are great, right? But then you have the colorist Jose Villarrubia, and then Todd
and Todd Klein on the
lettering.
letters. Yeah,
Like come on, like all four of those names are superstars.
I haven't even heard of this. Oh.
yeah, it was a. I think this is something that was probably supposed to come out when all those things were going on with Ellis.
I think it might have even like been solicited or not solicited, but like maybe.
I don't think they even wrapped it up, honestly.
Okay.
I think they're just putting out what's left. There's
I'm
so
stoked for it though. It looks awesome.
Does someone need to tell Taylor something? I'm gonna let Always an Instigator tell Taylor something. I usually do.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
it's
don't
not
know,
finished.
the
Well, then,
best
you
artist,
know.
truly a master of his. Look at Unstoppable Bar. Talking
Are
about Jack
speaking
Kirby
facts,
like that.
hard facts.
All right, what is next?
Next up, we got a 1 in 20 ratio Biohazard.
None of
But
us
it
here
is
are
signed by
gonna buy
J.H. Williams.
that. Unless you own a store. Then more. Oh my gosh, Manifest Destiny 2.
Manifest
you just
Destiny
made
Book
my
2
day.
solicited at
You just-
$59.99, collecting 25 to 48, and a short story from Skybound X #1.
Yes, baby. Oh, I love this book so
Does
much.
this conclude the series?
That's it. Yeah,
That's
this is
it,
it.
yeah.
And this is the stuff I haven't read. This is the stuff I'm like, I don't
Omar
know.
is like so happy.
I am. Or it could be the biggest letdown, right? Because it really the story is as good as its ending. It could go the way of like, I don't know, Game of Thrones season 6 or Lost. You know, like you're like so hyped up, and then you get to like Game of Thrones season 6.
Well, I don't know why you'd put that out into the world, man. I'd
Yeah,
forgotten about Lost.
But people were mad about Lost. I didn't have the biggest issue with that one. I had more of an issue with Game of Thrones. But anyway,
Is that like everyone's biggest fear with like Saga? Also, like when it finally wraps up, is it gonna stick the ending?
We have what 50
Don't
issues left to
even.
go. Yeah,
No, not quite 50. I think that
it's at 108, right? We're at 60. Okay, 40 issues to go.
Yeah.
so we're getting closer.
they took a break.
They keep
Again, I
taking
think-
breaks. They didn't take one break. They've taken a few breaks already. since their return, they've taken breaks.
Basically every 86 issues. But
It's because Fiona
I'm still
Staples
enjoying it.
Fiona Staples keeps getting on the exercise bike or treadmill or whatever it was that she was on.
There's
when-
something from James Horn. This Desolation Jones book works as a complete story. They started a second arc with a different artist, but you can read that first arc on its own. Thank you
Oh,
for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, what is next? That one made me happy. Sunstone.
Next up, we got
Volume 3.
Sunstone by Stepan Sajic, $49.99, collecting Sunstone Mercy, volume 6 through 8.
There's another one of those trade paperback. It collects these trade paperbacks.
I've never been a fan of this flesh tone on these books. They reprinted volumes 1 and 2 with Stepan Sajic's artwork on the covers, and I think they have a new design. But I've never liked the design of these like flesh tone books. I don't know why. I think Maddie and I did an old reader, new reader, and I told her it reminded me of maybe like textbooks when I was in school, and maybe that's why they They do nothing for me, considering the subject, right? Like, yeah, if you're a fan of the series, absolutely should be excited. And Bar loves the cover, so there you go.
That is an epic cover. Next up, we got the trade paperbacks. The first one is 3D Anomaly by Brian Haberlin, David Hine, and Philip Tan on artwork. This is $39.99 for the entirety, as well as 3D glasses as a part of this trade paperback.
That's awesome.
Why not?
All right, let's keep going.
Next up, we got a printing of trade paperback for Adventure Man Volume 1 by Terry Dodson and Matt Fraction. 1 through 5 is being collected here, $12.99.
Has anybody read this?
Yeah,
I've read the first volume.
Yeah, I've read the first volume too. It was in hardcover, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in like one of those larger, not exactly magazine size, but one of those types of hardcover.
It's giving me like Rocketeer vibes. Is it in line with that?
Like a retro type of book,
Like a pulp era, like Rocketeer, Dave Stevens.
Maybe so. Maybe more so like Dodson's art in this, but
Okay.
I don't really get that from this from the book. When are you doing the Mar? Thank you for the super chat, Bruce. Thursday at 3. I think it's at 3 p.m. I'll have to double check with the rest of the team, but this Thursday. Adventure Man is all right. I was going to say the same thing. Not too exciting, but great artwork. But I'm also not the biggest Matt Fraction fan. I was hoping like Dom's like, oh my gosh, it's the best thing ever. Dom, what'd you think? Do you think it?
No, it was. I thought it was okay. I like Fraction, but this isn't one of my faves from him. I do appreciate that Terry got to draw something though, because it's every now and then only that we get Terry Dodson interiors.
Right?
$12.99 for 5
Dom,
issues is pretty good.
Can you share
I
that,
like that a
Dom?
lot.
That Wonder Woman image on the Discord. You're not seeing anything. DBC All-Star. In the industry, we call that a cigarette burn. All right, what is next, Dom?
Next up, we got Blood Squad 7, trade paperback volume 1, Perilous Relaunch by Joe Casey, who was
That is a
interviewed by
great
Omar
cover.
not too long ago, and Paul Fry.
The cover better be die cut too, just to fit the because it's supposed to be like a throwback to like those 90s comics, right?
Kind of like that cover.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
text, yeah.
Should make every cover die cut.
Yeah, the neck and the page underneath could be like the full image. Yeah.
You have no idea how much I fought for Wolverine Omnibus Volume 3.
Oh my gosh, man, that would have been so perfect.
I wanted that so bad, and they were like, "Do you want this book to be $200?" And I'm like, "No," but I'm pretty
If
sure
Marvel was ever to do a die cut,
I'm pretty sure
omnibus, though,
some of us will pay that much. Yeah, that would have been one, or a glow in the dark Ghost Rider Omnibus cover.
that'd be
so sweet. Yeah, I'm a sucker for those stupid variant and gimmick covers to this day.
I'll buy every single gimmick cover I find. If
Do
it's,
you like chromium covers?
yeah.
Oh God, dude, I'm an idiot. I am such an idiot. I started again buying some. Like I have this David Nakayama one because he was at C2E2, and I had interviewed him on the show, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go buy something from him. Buy a print. No, here's a single issue. I don't need, but I'll buy it and say hi. And I was like, what is wrong with me?
Well, I love that like Comic Abrams Arts did the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror slipcases.
Oh, with glow in the dark and die cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if Marvel had released that, it would have just been a boring old omnibus, which would have been great because those comics
Did
are
you just
awesome.
say boring old kick him out of the
No,
stream,
no.
Don. You're in
Oh,
charge.
come on.
Oh my God, you did.
He actually kicked him out.
But my
Stop.
comparison of the slipcase with the die cut and glow in the dark, it was
I
boring.
get it. Man, and Taylor didn't even miss a beat. I'm proud of both of you, Dom, for kicking him out. Actually, and Taylor
Trying to do my best here.
I was coming back in guns a-blazing.
Blood Squad 7 is kind of a modernized version of Kirkland brand the Youngblood era. Okay. I'm getting somebody else got Force Works vibes. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Like a fold out, like giant poster that comes out of this cover. Yeah, I get that. All right, what's next?
Next up, we got Destro by Dan Waters and Andre Bresson, Volume 1. This is the regular market cover.
Yeah.
collecting Destro 1 through 5, parts of
G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I haven't read any of the Joe side of the Energon stuff. I've only done Transformers and Void Rivals, but
Oh,
I
dude,
need to get
Cobra
on some of these.
Cobra Commander is so good. I didn't.
That's what I've
expect-
heard.
Like it. Do you like Joshua Williamson's writing, like in Superman or his Flash?
Yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, I think they're probably bigger fans than me, but he's pretty good.
It's so different. It's so
Oh,
different
okay.
because it's more like a dark, almost like, I don't want to call it a horror comic because it's really
Mhm.
not. There are some horror elements, so I'm excited to read Destro like this. What is up, Elon? And Elon saying, "Can't believe you turned down fresh balls and they chose instead to have stanky balls." Also, did you get my email? I did. Did you get my email? I emailed you back. And he's talking about when Fresh Balls was trying to sponsor my show, and I said no, thank you, because I can't segue anything of what I do with your product.
Well, you're talking about gold balls, so you go to fresh balls. There's your segue.
Yeah, how
Oh,
many times do I talk about that character on my channel? Maybe once.
Hey, he was epic in House of X, Omar, so you got to give him that.
Epic and gold balls or egg do not belong in the same sentence. All right. Next.
Yeah,
Oh, Joe,
that was fun. I was going to say that was speaking of sponsorships. Omar, I watched your conversation with Pop Culture Philosophers, probably one of my other favorite channels, and so it was funny to see that conversation on sponsorship.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah. Dude, I love Robbie. Him and I, like, we email each other from time to time because I notice a lot of my viewers watch his videos when they email me like, "Hey man, you and Robbie should collab on something." And we were just trying to find something to talk about, but then it's like, you get caught up on a stack of books to read and people schedule out interviews, and I don't reach out. And then I have other panel shows too, like this one. And luckily he reached out to me about doing a show, and I'm like, "Absolutely. What do you want to talk about?" And he's like, "I don't care anything." And I'm like, "Done." Like, whatever you want. There's no plan. I love shows like that. I don't have to come in with like my favorite stories or anything. I'm just there to chat. And we chatted for like well over 2 hours, and I could have kept going. He's gonna be on my panel video on Thursday, September 12th. We're doing the Marvel event Evergreen Omnis. It's gonna be a huge panel already too, like of people that are coming in with their favorite Marvel events. And then we're going to make a list of 10, which is going to be insane. So, yeah, he wants to join in for that. So, yeah. Thanks, man. Thank you for those words, Joe.
Yeah,
so Destro, I'm excited to read. Has anybody read this? I know that Dan said that he had not read the G.I. Joe side of things, but was curious if anybody had read it.
This is the direct market cover for those wondering.
I've read Void Rivals, and I had some issues with it. And then I've read Dana Warren Johnson's Transformers, and that's it so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm similar to Dan. I read the first volumes of Void Rivals and Transformers and enjoyed them, but haven't dipped into the G.I. Joe side of it yet.
That would be a small. That'd be a small box.
That would be a tiny box. Is there enough room, enough material for us? Oh,
not yet.
7 times 5, right? 35, 350. What issue are they on?
I don't think they've hit 350 yet. I think they're close.
If they've hit 350, then yeah, they got enough. If they haven't,
I think they hit 350 recently.
Yeah, they did.
I thought
350.
Well, then there you go.
Thank you so much, Lay. That balances out the guy that was really mad about the DC Compacts comment. I was talking to a friend of mine and not him. Hit that like button, by the way. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Lay. We appreciate
Waters
it.
has some good takes on Destro. Tomax and Zach. Oh, Tomax and Samon are in here too.
Oh, they have to.
Do they finish each other's? Do they talk at the same time? That would get annoying. Or are they different? Okay, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Next.
Next up, we got Moon Man by someone who used to be one of my favorite music artists, Kid Cudi.
Dude, what? Kid Cudi's writing a comic?
Yeah.
Hold on. Why used to be? You don't like him anymore?
Yeah, so I'm wondering.
What do you do?
I only like the first volume that the first one he came out with, Man in the Moon. I haven't really liked one of his albums since then.
Oh, I'm a big Kid Cudi fan from back in the day. I haven't listened to his recent stuff though, so maybe
that's exactly why I'm not a fan anymore.
I don't know if it's good or bad. I haven't heard it.
He's great on features. Not as so much single stuff anymore.
But I
but
assume
there's-
this comic is based off the trilogy of albums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
don't know
like what
why
he
I'm
did on
surprised.
I like what he did with Kanye. That Kids See Ghosts.
Yeah,
was a
that was a
good
nice album.
I like that one.
Kyle. Okay, I was gonna say he has a writer working with him, Kyle Higgins. Is this part of the Massive universe?
No.
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 I don't think
This is-
so. No.
No,
Kid
this is Kid Cudi's own thing.
Kid Cudi released a trilogy of rap albums where this Moon Man character is like the main character. It's like they're concept albums.
Was
And
the
this is like-
Satellite? Was Satellite one of them? 'Cause I remember that was I like that album, Satellite Flight.
I think so. I'm
Yeah.
on it.
That was part of
it. Or is it? Or were they just called Man on the Moon like 1, 2, and 3? I just remember liking some of his albums. But
Yeah.
anyway, really cool. I don't know why I was surprised. There's a lot of musicians that end up writing comics these days. A lot. So good on him. Who's the artist?
Marco Locati. I'm not really familiar with. Apparently, they're new.
I like that cover design though. It's a cool cover.
Yeah. That's
Who's
cool.
Kid Cudi? You're gonna learn today. This is a
Scott
congratulations to you reaching 1,000 subscribers, Dom.
Thank you, Elon. Sorry, I haven't been replying to comments in recent vids. I was in LA over the past weekend, and right after as I got back, I had a basketball game, like an hour as soon as I arrived in Northern California. So
And then I put him to work. I'm like, Dom, I need this ASAP. And Dom was
and I
like,
gave it
right
to
on.
Omar ASAP.
I did not.
While he was playing basketball, he was on the court.
I
with
said
his
pretty
computer.
please. I said pretty please, I'm sure. Okay, next. Ooh,
Next
Scarlet.
up, we got one of my favorite writers in the industry right now, Kelly Thompson, with the only G.I. Joe book that I have read of the new line. This is Scarlet Volume 1, which is coming out in a regular cover and a direct market only cover. This is the direct market by Joelle Jones, collecting the first 5 issues of Scarlet at $14.99. Here is the regular book market edition.
Do you
Nice.
think we're gonna get like a big, like all out crossover on these Energon books, or do you think it's gonna continue kind of the way that it is, where we see some crossover, but for the most part, it's kind of keeping to themselves?
I'd be shocked.
Well,
if we
because
didn't get one.
these Scarlet and Destro and Cobra Commander and Duke of War miniseries, and then I think like the full G.I. Joe series is starting like November.
I
So that
think
seems to be where all
eventually-
this is coming together.
I think eventually we are going to be getting some oversized hardcovers. Like, this is Skybound, right?
Mhm.
Walking Dead, Invincible, Firepower, everything they do, especially with something like this. And I think they have realized
Yeah.
that people buy different things. I'm sure when enough issues, there's going to be a compendium and it'll have a couple of things that the hardcovers don't. I'm sure there'll be oversized slipcase editions. Whew.
We're probably going to get a sample.
Daniel Warren Johnson's artwork in those slipcase editions. Oh my gosh.
I
And,
mean, yeah,
and Jorge, who's the new artist on it?
Corona.
Oh,
Yes,
hey, Corona.
that guy's art is solid.
Yeah.
I was amazed at how little of a beat was skipped going from DWJ to Jorge Corona. Like, I mean,
That guy's art is good, man. He's a great
Yeah.
artist.
well, and he did Batgirls is what he was doing before.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really liked his art in that series. Same with Jorge Corona and Scotty Young have worked on a lot of
Yes.
stuff
Mhm.
together too, and I've
Middle
loved
West
Jorge's
doing-
art.
Are they doing the Ain't No Grave? Is he on that one?
They are, yeah.
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 Wow, he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
He's a busy guy. Hello. When will we be able to buy Omnis from Latin America? I always watch your channel and you do a beautiful job. Thank you. Best wishes to you. Muchas gracias, hermano. I think some companies actually put not quite Omnis, but big collections in I know as far as Central America. I'm not sure if they make it down to Latin America. There are soft cover trade paperback versions available down there, though. I think Image in Skybound will do lots of different formats. Absolutely. Which, as much as they paid for these licenses, they want to get so much money back. And that Kickstarter did really well for them. So we'll be seeing a lot more of those.
Yeah, Robert Kirkman will not let the money go to waste. he'll find a way to reprint the stuff in every format imaginable to every type of audience imaginable. The way they're marketing this is great. I mean, doing these mini series with different creators and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're
I think it becomes a pain because it's like you want to jump in. But
Yeah.
like Dan was saying, he's only read like the Transformer stuff. But what if you
Mhm.
want to read it all? How do you read? What do you read first? It's going to become. This is something very similar to what IDW did when they got the rights to Transformers. They had like Infiltration, and then they had like the little mini series that spun out into other particular series. And it becomes a pain in the butt when it's coming out in trade paperback because you're like, okay, what do I read next, or what do I read during this particular event? It's not until the hardcovers and somebody actually putting a lot of thought into it, how to map the Energon universe, which would be, oh my gosh, so fun to map. Because you could do it like Transformers, the IDW collection, until they start doing like flashback comics, like comics that take place in Cybertron or before they were G.I. Joe, so yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that they've been, because they did like you said, I think the Kickstarter was for the Larry Hama
Yeah.
Yes.
G.I. Joe books, but
Marvel
then
years.
also aren't they doing reprinting of the Marvel Transformer books?
There's a
I thought I heard
compendium
that
that they're doing a compendium so far, not a Kickstarter, but I don't think
Right.
they're not gonna do it. I mean, there's no way they
Yeah.
don't do a Kickstarter.
After that G.I. Joe one, I mean,
Yeah,
Mm.
most successful Kickstarter on a comic, right?
yeah.
Crazy. That's not a toy. It's an actual comic. It's Larry Hama's G.I. Joe run still ongoing. He is
Yeah.
still writing it. Yeah. I'm super confused by its continuity. It is very confusing, brother, because this is when licensing comes into play. It's still Marvel Hasbro's one or retcon later. Still animators asking. So G.I. Joe, Real American Hero was printed by Marvel Comics, right? When
For the
they
first-
lost the license.
Yeah, for the first 150 issues.
Yeah, it's like 155 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it got picked up by different companies, right? At one time it was over Devil's Due, and then it was a Dreamwave, but nothing ever came. And then eventually IDW got it. IDW started and doing a continuation of G.I. Joe Real American Hero, as if Larry Hama had never left the book. They did the same thing with Transformer Mortem Meets the Eye. It's like we're continuing Simon Furman as if he had never left the book in the 80s. Or I'm sorry, that was in the 90s, and so was Joe. And then when they lost the license, the issues stopped getting printed until Skybound got it. And then they were continuing from the last issue that IDW,
Which was 300. So Marvel
was
did
it
one.
300?
Yeah, Marvel did 1 through 155.
Okay.
IDW did 156 through 300, and then
lot of
Skybound
issues.
picked up. Yeah, Skybound picked up at 301.
So the
Yeah,
Real
so-
American Hero is its own continuity. It is
And-
not in the IDW Energon universe.
And
It's
even though
That's
always,
what I was gonna say.
Yeah. And even though it's 3 different companies, they've kept that issue number, which is nice. So you just
it's
you
as
just-
if Larry Hama had just kept writing at Marvel Comics, except now he can't use Marvel characters, right? Like Shield, not be showing up. Neither will Spider-Man. So yeah, 301 is a new story arc, but it's the same canon. I love that. Yeah. It's the same continuity, first by Marvel, then IDW, then by Marvel. Look, you could have just read that. Thank you so much. Instead of my long-winded, like, what did happen here? And then, sorry about that. But thank you for the super chat, brother. Okay.
Thank you,
Next.
Chad. Next up, we got a Jerry Duggan photo book. Jerry Duggan's photography has always been, or Jerry Duggan's hobby has always been photography, even before he got into comics. He would always post pictures on Twitter of interesting shots that he's taken at cons, places that he's visited. So they are collecting those into this trade paperback for $19.99, which I find really interesting.
That is really interesting.
A photo book. Okay. You know what? Big creator name. Okay.
So there you go. Next up, we got Gunslinger Spawn by Todd McFarlane and to-be Nightwing ongoing artist Dexter Soy, $16.99, collecting 25 through 30 of the Gunslinger Spawn ongoing.
All right. Wait, am I living in the Michael? How have you been, dude? Ain't seen you for a minute. Now by Image, I mean not Marvel. Oh, yes. You are correct. William, how you doing, buddy? Jerry Duggan Photography. Lee, that's exactly what was
He is
going on.
really
in my head.
good at photographs, man. Some of the black and white shots that he's taken at conventions have been used by like other creators in their newsletters. If they're promoting one of their books, or they're like, hey, I had a really good weekend. Here's a shot that Jerry Duggan took of me and some other.
Oh, I believe you. It's just something really
Different.
unique.
Yeah,
It wasn't on my
I'm trying to
bingo
keep
card.
it as professional for Image to be doing, right?
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
so many other things. Looking at you, Peter Panzerfaust, to be completed in a certain format. And we're getting a photography book from Jerry Duggan. More power to him, and maybe he's forking a lot of the money. I actually, you don't have to watch the whole thing, but although I really suggest you do, I got to interview Declan Shalvey on, I think it was last Monday. One of the most interesting interviews I've done on the channel, because he actually started talking about how difficult it is and how much money it takes to get some of these books printed in different formats. And it became really interesting to me because it was talking about just how much him and his co-creator had to put up, how much money instead of Image doing it. So it's not as easy as a lot of people think. It's just a really good topic, and I would love to keep talking about these things. If people are some people aren't comfortable with talking about money, and I completely respect that. But he was really open about the whole thing. So thank you for the super chat, Silhouetted Animator. So Hama's G.I. Joe switched in and out of universes like Ezra's Flash, switched out of DC EU to a separate Earth, but kept the James Gunn stuff on Earth 1. Maybe.
Oh,
Thank you, James. Yes, this is the link to the Declan Shalvey interview. Really great guy. Wonder if the Spawn slipcases will ever get the Gunslinger saga or the Gunslinger era. Well, I hope they get like Hellspawn and Medieval Spawn and Salmon Twitch in some kind of oversized format. We haven't been, or at least Salmon Twitch has been reprinted. Hellspawn hasn't been reprinted yet.
I know Omar would love to have Brett Booth's art from Gunslinger Spawn in a slipcase.
Dude, I love Brett Booth. That dude's artwork. Well, I don't know the man. I may not love him, but I love his art. His art is so. How is that guy not drawing X-Men? Like, he's been petitioning. Like,
He
selling
drew one
stuff.
issue of Hickman X-Men, Omar.
He did, and he did the X-Men Legacy issues with my dude Adam X the Extreme. But I'm just like, man, why isn't this guy drawing? He's one of the. I know. He's people are gonna be like, he's a Jim Lee clone. I get it. But to me, I don't know. He just always was a good like X-Men artist. Like, he did an X-Men run with what was it, during Claremont's era, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about money. All right, let's do it. How much do you pay your guest, Omar? Just my charm. That's all they get. Morning, my man. What's up, Omnibo? How you doing, buddy? They pay him to be on Instagram. Sam and Twitch was bad. I know. I just said I like this Joy operation.
Oh, speaking of the DC Compact, isn't that what this format is right here?
It's a little bit bigger than the DC Compact. I think.
Okay.
Did I already give my DC Compacts away? I swear. I have so many of my friends' kids that come down. No, there's no way I gave Watchmen to one of my friends' kids.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't see them. I guess I gave them away. Whenever we have like a get together and we have like families over, people love coming down here and picking out books. And I remember one of my friends trying to walk out with like 5 Omnis, and I'm like, hey, I'm having a giveaway soon. Why don't you just take 4 of those or 1 of those and leave me 4, please?
You're gonna get an
He
angry
didn't realize how much they cost. He's like, these books are over $100, and I'm like, yes.
Yes.
I can't wait
But
for
this
you to
book
get
isn't
angry-
$100. This is the new edition of Invincible Volume 6, collecting 30-34, the Pact 4, and $14.99.
I will say it's like it's the size of the Marvel Digest size, like Digest size books. It's not like compact small, but it is smaller than a trade paperback.
You can tell by the cover designs they're going for that manga audience too. Like it's just like the
you're right.
The big volume number on it.
I see that.
Well, and also I think Saga is putting out similar editions very soon, which is cool.
Try and tap in the
Yeah, I wish
manga
I-
audience that's also into the animated show.
I wish I could be a Jim Lee clone. That would be.
Dude, I wanted to be a Jim Lee clone when I was a kid.
And then J. Scott Campbell ruined your dreams. We heard
That guy beat me out in Nintendo Power, man. I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna tell him if I ever meet him.
Oh.
You know,
We got
Uh,
SDCC next year, Omar.
will he? Will he? Is he at New York Comic Con? I might approach him and in the middle of my interview, I'm gonna be like, by the way, I have this issue of Nintendo Power. I just want to staple to your head.
You took everything from me.
Just walk up to his table and say, "We're switching spots. That's my seat."
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia Volume 6. This is collecting 31 to 35 and a backup story featuring Hell's baddest badass Johnny Gatlin, 1699, and Spawn and Savage Dragon are also guest stars.
Savage Dragon? Oh, I love Savage Dragon. I didn't know he crossed over into this.
Just being a clone is a gift to show humanity how to be. You know, I say clone, but a lot of these guys that started off as Jim Lee clones, like Travis Charest, to me, is a perfect example of how somebody tried to draw like Jim Lee, and then holy crap, I don't know what art gods he channeled, but he became a different beast.
I mean, before Jim Lee clones, it was Neil Adams clones, right? Like Bill Sienkiewicz and Frank Miller both started their careers off as Neil Adams clones, and then they both went into completely different directions to develop their own styles, which are amazing. But
Don Rosa admits not being able to draw, so he had to trace a lot of Karl Barks drawings to do like his first story. Yeah, it's crazy. You know, it's always a case of art inspiring art. And I know people nowadays, because we have social media, share all these like swipes and things like that. I think at one point or another, every artist has borrowed something from someone, not necessarily tracing, but you know, art inspiring art. There's nothing. I never really saw a problem with it. There's been work. Okay, not every time. There has been some really bad cases.
I mean, Omar, it's been happening since the beginning of human civilization.
Yeah, one caveman copied somebody else's.
And it's been happening. I mean, science, history, like it's just like a normal thing. Like you see a thing that's successful, or you see a thing that might inspire you to do something better. Take a little bit from it and juice it in your own.
With comic book art, like there's probably fewer. Well, there are fewer artists in comics that went to art school than there are that learned how to draw comics by copying the comics they grew up on. So
well. I will say, how many times have you seen the Jim Lee Sabretooth? Dude, I actually did a video. I made it into a video of like, here's the Mark Vasella drawing, here's the Fabio Laguna version, and here's the original Jim Lee. It wasn't meant, but it was because the books were coming out at the same time. I'm like, this is a perfect time to show this one swipe that I remember as a kid. I was like, why weren't the editors paying attention? But that's the thing. Like, if you look at those intros of especially Doctor Strange Volume 2, they'll tell you that they were well aware of artists. I'm not going to say any names, swiping from different artists, like legit swiping panels and poses and same characters, but they needed to get the books out. They needed a fast artist, and a lot of these guys were fast. Yeah.
Monthly comics are hard.
Yeah, and you got people like Dan Mora putting out like 2 or 3 books a month.
That guy made a deal with some kind of demon. I don't know what he did, man. And he's good. He's a good, solid artist.
That's the crazy thing is that he doesn't cut corners. He's wild. Yeah, he's crazy.
Absolutely.
But he's definitely the exception to the rule. I mean,
all right, Dom, what do we got, buddy?
Next up, we got Last Man, Book 6 by Balak, Michael Solansville. This is $24.99, and this is the last 2 volumes being collected of the hit French Fight comic, collected here in this trade paperback.
And again, tapping into that manga design, manga audience. Kirby knows how to sell things, you know? So I think this is a Skybound thing, right?
I don't know.
It says perfect for readers of Invincible. Yeah.
Okay.
He knows how to market his books, for sure.
Next up, we got The Local Man, Volume 3, The Lost Ones by Tony Fleeks and Tim Seeley, $18.99, Local Man, 10 to 13, 25, and the Bad Girls one-shot collected in here.
Have you read this, Local Man?
No, but I've heard lots of great things. I've been meaning to. I've read it, like his other books, like Stray Dogs, and then the first few issues of Feral. And I really
Stray Dogs
enjoyed them.
awesome.
But not this yet.
I've also heard. Has anybody on the panel read Local Man? I've heard a lot of great things about it.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay. What is next, Dom?
Next up, we got Monstrous Volume 9 by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. $16.99, collecting issues 49 through 54 of the series.
Okay, Lay is saying Local Man is great book. And thank you, adorable Brent Hogan. Have the first printing of the best of DC War. Highly recommend. Dan Moore is really just a bunch of artists stacked. There were like a bunch of inkers back in the day that got together. Stray Dogs, best horror book. Wow, some high praise. I honestly believe Dan Moore has cloned himself. Don't you say clone and you bring out Omnibo, who's the biggest...
all Dan Moore is a Dan Moore clone.
Would you guys consider Stray Dogs to be a horror comic?
Absolutely.
Okay. There was I had a discussion with some friends about that, and some people were saying no, it wasn't. But
no, I think absolutely right. There's a horror element.
I think it is for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely that horror element in it. I don't know, suspense. What other category would you put it in?
So that's like 5 votes for yes.
Well, it's my vote.
Are you just trying to?
You need that to prove everybody wrong. Yeah,
I'm trying to win arguments with friends. That's it.
Oh my goodness!
Just gonna clip this and show that to your friends.
I agreed with you.
Paperback Dan's one of those people. He's on my side though.
Okay. Monstrous is, somebody was asking, is a title that eludes me. I want to read it one day. So speaking of manga, Monstrous is a title that has artwork by Sana Takeda, who has a very manga / anime style. Beautiful style. Did work for Marvel Comics, like did some stuff for Miss Marvel. I'm not the biggest fan of Monstrous, and it's due to the heavy dialogue that Marjorie Liu puts into the story. And maybe because I'm lured in the art and I'm like, oh, there's gonna be some easy reading. We did an old reader, new reader, and it's at times it can be unnecessary dialogue. There was a page I held up, and it's a splash page, right? And splash pages are like, ooh, look at this. This is amazing. That is half covered by dialogue, like word bubbles, and just kind of repetitive. And I understand it's like, introducing you to a magic system and the world building, but I'm more of a, show, don't tell kind of guy. I don't know. I had issues with it. It's beautiful.
Maybe Marjorie Liu grew up reading only Stan Lee comics.
Everyone has
or Tom King
these days. There was a time when we did. No. There's still some traditional artists out there. There's still some dudes out there that are pumping out stuff.
Isn't Omnidog a monstrous devotee? Doesn't he like love this?
Yeah, I believe so.
I have no idea. No idea. He
I believe
he has horrible taste in movies, though, so I don't trust anything that guy says.
You had to get one in there.
Gotta get that one in there for my buddy. I still love him. What is this? No One.
Speaking of, this is No One, another massive verse Kyle Higgins led book by, of course, Kyle Higgins and Brian Buccellato, former colorist, helping him out on the writing, and Geraldo Borges on the art. $24.99, soon to be a movie collecting No One 1 through 10.
And also, there's a 10-episode companion podcast with Rachel Lee Cook of She's All That. I love that's in there. Pat Oswalt and Todd Stashwick. Wow.
Rachel Lee Cook. Why couldn't they credit Patton Oswalt? Why couldn't they credit Patton Oswalt on King of Queens too? Give him that credit. Yeah. I loved this book. I pulled the single issues. It was fantastic. It's set in Pittsburgh, which I lived there for 10 years, and it was so good. It was great. The podcast was really awesome to go along with it. But this was awesome. I loved it.
I'm intrigued, I will say.
It's good, and definitely do the podcast if you can, because it's it just enhances it so much.
Do you listen to it after you read this or before?
So I would do, it's one episode for each issue.
Oh,
so I would do issue, podcast episode, issue, podcast episode.
Okay,
definitely do that, because if you listen to the whole podcast first, it'll spoil the book, and if you
I gotcha.
Do it the other way around, it'll kind of
interesting.
So 1-to-1. Yeah,
I like it.
Okay, what's next?
Next up, we got Sacrificers, Volume 2 by Rick Remender, one of the brand new lines from his Giant Generation Generator title line with Max Fiumara on the interiors. Doesn't have the collected edition info, but I would assume it has the entire second arc.
Man,
Yeah, this has been
Remender
incredible.
has it been? I was gonna say because Remender like seemed like he's taking a couple years off from launching new series. He's doing like one series a year kind of thing. But now it's like he's exploding. It's like 4 or 5 new series coming out at once.
Joe, did you read this?
Yeah, because I think this is the only current series of his that I've been reading, but I think it launched last year and it was my favorite series of last year in single issues.
Oh, wow.
You liked it that much, huh?
Yeah, because it's such a like epic story, because there's sort of like fantasy elements to it, but it's like very emotional and like driven through like the characters involved. But it's some really cool ideas in the artwork by Fiumara. So I never heard of him before this book, but it was like really like detailed and regal, like really fitting that fantasy style really nicely.
It's awesome.
Okay, thank you for that insight, Joe.
We got to get a library edition of this out soon, considering that we got 2 trade paperbacks of this. Put them all into one.
Bought my 64-year-old mother-in-law the low compendium, and she loved. I love hearing that. Always an instigator.
Wow,
That's awesome. My mom today. You need more videos like that nice man did for you. Oh, Jess, maybe Omar could learn from him. Your mom said that. Oh man, she's mad because I didn't call her back. All right, what's next?
Next up, we got Transformers by the one and only Daniel Warren Johnson, with now star artist Jorge Corona on the interiors, collecting 7 through 12 of the series. This is
that cover is awesome.
Regular cover for the book market, and of course, this is an awesome direct. Oh my goodness,
so cool.
I love Alita 1. She's one of my favorite characters. But that cover of Optimus holding up Earth, come on, man. That is awesome. That's direct market?
This is direct market.
Damn,
That's DWJ there. He did that one, I think.
That is amazing.
Skybound's been doing this direct market thing a lot lately.
Yeah, especially with trade paperbacks. I hope it's working for them.
They did it with their.
My wife is a huge Transformers fan. Like, she loves Dan Warren Johnson's Transformers.
They've been doing it with their Universal
such a good
Monsters
series.
line too.
Also, I feel like that's such a killer subtitle. Transport to Oblivion, like damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, after loving the first volume, I've been itching for this one to come out.
Yeah, Corona's art is solid too.
The subtitle for Volume 1 of Void Rivals was More Than Meets the Eye, which I thought was cool because it was a pretty big deal whenever whenever it came out that was going to have Transformers in it. So, yeah.
All right, Dom, take us home.
All right, Undiscovered Country Volume 5. This is the second to last volume of this series, collecting issues 25 to 30 of the Scott Snyder and Charles Soule epic, $16.99 for this trade paperback, which wraps up the image.
That looks like, and I'm just noticing this, that looks like Zorak from Space Ghost. Back there.
That's amazing.
I read the first few.
Now I'm gonna be disappointed if I read that and it's not. So,
I mean, you could go read Space Ghost. That does have Zorak in it.
Oh, that's true. Good plug.
I'm
You
waiting-
work
I'm
for
waiting
Dynamite
for
Dan? Dynamite Dan? That was a nice plug.
I am waiting for this
Out now.
to be collected in a hardcover, just because of all those Charles Soule and Scott Snyder. I mean, it's got to come out in a big hardcover one day.
Yeah, I read the first few arcs of this and enjoyed it, but I sort of dropped off it and haven't caught up. Yeah, I think especially when a nice hardcover comes out.
Dom, you said this is the second to the last.
Second
Like
to the last.
It's ending at 35. I said
36.
Okay,
This sounds like 2 hardcovers then.
that's awesome.
Hypothetically, eventually.
That is awesome, man. Yeah, I can't wait for this to end so I can get a big, nice, fat hardcover.
And because Image is now putting out those omnibuses.
They are. And that is it. Woo, I gotta go and film and edit. But before I leave, and just because I leave doesn't mean you all have to, by the way. I know I have fun talking to everybody. But yeah, if you guys want to stay, Dom's running the ship, so you guys can stick. Dom, you have the nicest living room, dude. You're so rich. You have a
Totally
piano.
not.
How long is that? Is that a fireplace? And you live in California,
Hold on.
dude.
Hold on.
He changed it like 20 minutes ago, maybe, I noticed.
Yeah.
Dom, you got to go over there and play on that piano and play us out.
You know what? I actually do play piano, so
Oh,
I would happily do that. I want me to play Chopin, Liszt, Mozart,
But I want to
Brahms.
see you walk back there and play on that one.
Oh, absolutely. Let me. Hey, you know what? Maybe someday I will be able to play piano for all of you folks. I do.
You can play
Figure-
the Near Mint Condition intro in your piano.
You know what? I can happily do that. I can do that.
Here we go.
That's
Breaking
awesome.
news now. You'll be wearing a tuxedo playing the piano as Omar starts in his suit.
Yeah, you gotta wear like those white gloves, tuxedo. Yeah, you gotta go all out. Do you think we'll get a deluxe of Noctera, or should I pick up the trades? I certainly think that we'll get
Don't see why not. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Tony S. Daniel, Scott Snyder.
Yeah, absolutely. And a piano. The grand piano is a nice touch. Very, very classy. Thank you, Rahul, for being here, buddy. Of
Thank
course,
you.
Tom plays the piano.
I,
What do you
I,
mean,
wa- I
of
was
course?
I was told by my mom to just like continue stick with it. I'll tell the full story maybe someday. But I'm very happy that I stuck with it and I still continue to play.
Play Journey, not the really old stuff. Thank you for that addition at the end. Can't even get Snyder to do a second art for Witches. When is that coming back out? There are no Italians here, huh? Where? Bar in the chat? Where are you talking about? Gentlemen, I do have to bounce, but you guys stay, talk to Dom, talk about what you're... Oh, what's the one book everybody's most excited for out of the 4 different companies we went through? Joe, you go first, buddy. I love putting you on the spot. You look like you were ready for an answer, though.
Maybe All Nighter Volume 3. I suppose that as a stand-in for me also to read Volume 2 as well. But yeah, it's been a while since I read the first volume of that, so I'm excited to catch up on the rest.
Okay. What about you, Dan?
So it's funny because I was thinking that the book I'm most excited for wasn't even presented here. It's the Night Thrasher and Nova omnibus. But
You didn't know existed
I like
until
your style, Dan. I
but-
like your style.
but of the ones here, I'm looking forward to Blow Away. I think I'm excited to read that whole thing. Just the 1 or 2 issues I read where it was, I mean, super suspenseful and really well written. So I'm excited for that one, I think.
Okay. And what about you? Taylor Talks Comics.
definitely the DC Best of War book, Artist Edition, and the Jack Kirby covers book. I'm going to pick 2.
Okay. Yeah, that Jack Kirby book looks awesome. Dom.
Magic Order Library 1 just for Stuart Eminem in oversized. That's more than enough for me.
I think Manifest Destiny Volume 2. Really excited for that book. That one, oh yeah, can't wait to end it. Hope it ends well. We will see. Gentlemen, I am out of here. Talk amongst yourselves, talk to the chat, but I have to go. Thank you everybody for joining us, and check out the rest of our videos.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man. Now that I know you like New Warriors, though, I'll think of some episodes we can do together.
Oh, there you
Bye.
go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Take care, Omar.
Thank you all.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and sign off. Starting to my right, Taylor, where can people find you and what do you do?
Taylor Talks Comics on YouTube. I am on the road to 3,000 subscribers, so everybody please go subscribe. This Wednesday, bringing back Taylor Talks Comics live at noon Eastern, live show. We all get to chat live and talk. I think you talk about Omar, by the way, not me. Thank you.
Yeah.
But and also, I'll have a whole video showing off some Living the Line comics from that publisher coming out probably tomorrow morning.
Awesome. So there are the links. Thank you, James. And yes, we do indeed hate Omar. Man, hate that guy running the show. But anyways, that's besides the point. Joe, where can people find you?
Yeah, so people can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Joe Loves Comics and Joe Talks Comics, and yes, the podcast Joe Talks Comics available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and hopefully lots of other wonderful places. As I said at the beginning, we last did the stream about a month ago. I was taking a bit of a break from the podcast, but I'm back now with some new episodes. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Awesome sauce. Thank you for joining. And of course, to
Yeah,
our
thank you.
first timer, Mr. Dan, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter, Instagram, all that, but mostly YouTube, Comics with Dan. I do weekly a handful of book reviews, and I do a weekly show, the Comics Commute, that I do every Wednesday, where I literally am driving to work and talk about comics that I read and then I'm going to read the next week. And so it started with, that's the only time I had to record. So so
That's
it worked
fun,
out
though.
well.
That's
But it is, yeah, it's cool because it works out because my commute's about 20-25 minutes, so it allows me to get a 15-20 minute video in. So but yeah, so that's where I'm at, and I'm over on League of Comic Geeks. Joe's over there too, and Dom's over there. So I don't know if you're on there or not, Taylor, but yeah, so it's places you can find me. So
Awesome. And of course, you can find me on this channel at Near Mint, where I pretty much run the show behind the scenes, along with Taylor helping out with some of the graphics and also edits, videos, and all of that stuff. You can find all of the documents that you've seen on here on Comic Releases, where I believe we do have the best available format for solicitations and everything else, along with a Patreon where just for $2 you can actually track all the deluxes and big, thick trade paperbacks and all those customary editions, just for $2 a month. So not even a cup of coffee. And that is going to be awesome. We also have a Discord where you can talk to me if you want to add any one of these books in particular. You can also find me here on YouTube, where I am almost at 1,500 subscribers, and I also get to talk about DC collected editions, Marvel collected editions, and all the other news that you can pretty much find, hard to find everywhere else on the internet, all consolidated there. I will also be on Jake's from Brave and the Boys stream tomorrow. We are starting a new show called Titans Tuesday, where we just talk and chill, talk about comics. But that will be all. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back next month, hopefully with the same panel, hopefully with Bunk joining us next time so we can strap him away from work. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, everybody. Stay fresh, all you mentees, and until next time.
See ya.
All right.